wasting all my time. Standing in that coffee line. Then we be sitting around the table, drinking java by the cup. You know what? My lady wants me home, but when I sit down, I can't get up. You know what? Drink my coffee from my favorite cup. Good God. Sit down.
As I was flying to the front door to my 15-hour day, I got a phone call from my mother, and this is what she had to say. You're gonna get there when you get there. You'll be gone when you're gone. And if you ain't even got there, take your time, it won't take long. She said that time might bite you badly. You better hold on to this part, 'cause 60 seconds in the sunshine is better than a lifetime in the dark. On the way to where you're going, just remember where you're from. But don't you worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow might not even come. She said, my son, you got to slow down and smell the flowers all the way. Spend your time on friends and family, and they'll bring flowers to your grave. You're gonna get there when you get there. You'll be gone when you're gone. And if you ain't even got there, take your time, it won't take long.
We're getting an early start on things, and if you're brave and stick around until the end of the show, it'll be worth the wait. I got a lot to talk about today. Welcome to Canadian Patriot Report. Tonight at 9, Billy Joyce and I are bringing you some CPR.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Welcome to Canadian Patriot Report.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Sunday nights at 9. CPR, Canadian Patriot Report, the only live multicam broadcast on Facebook.
And I'm gonna try it on you. I got my mojo working high, and I'm gonna try it on you. Well, I done tried in New York City. Boy, now I'm gonna try it on you.
Do you love your country? Do you hate your government? Congratulations. You might be a patriot. Keeping Canada Canadian is what we're doing.
That's what I'm gonna do. You know, I done tried.
Are you ready to stand on guard for thee?
I'm gonna try it on you. All right now. Hey.
Actually, Duke, can I get a couple minutes with you? Yeah. Tell us what's going on here today. Why we're here.
Why are we here today? January 2nd, myself and two friends came out here to protest our local MP's office regarding about our government supporting returning ISIS fighters and not enforcing our criminal code. Spread the word, brother! There, you just heard what it's about. The song says, "We stand on guard for thee," and that's what it's about. Flanders Field is full of Canadians who are weeping in their graves at what's being allowed to happen in this country today. Because Canada needs CPR.
Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yep. If this video
individuals can inspire, but it is the
doesn't kind of tighten the muscles in your throat, if this
this
video doesn't make your lower lip quiver just a little bit, if it doesn't make your breath catch in your chest just a little bit, then you're a sad, cold-hearted motherfucker and I don't want to know you.
Bet they keep coming. Add one more name from Ontario and carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. I serve with distinction, no visions of glory. I serve without question, a personal gain. Seek no justification, it's not part of my story, and it offers no comfort to the ones who remain. Just carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above, but the flag's flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. I took up my vocation. I was called by my nation without hesitation. My answer I gave. Now I'm not wondering the things that I might have been. No consolation to the forgotten brave. So carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love.
Turn on the microphone, Duke. Works a whole lot better when you see that green and yellow light going zip, zip, zip across the bottom of the screen. It means you can hear what I'm saying. And that's important because I got a lot to say tonight. I'm going to save a whole bunch of it until the end of the show. because I don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for, taint or leave a taste in people's mouth going into the show. I got Billy Joyce coming on tonight. Billy called me this afternoon and said, Duke, I've been so busy. I've been going crazy here. I need to get on your show and let off some steam. And I said, Billy, you can do whatever you want on my show. They're my viewers, not yours. And he said, that's exactly why I need to come on your show. So, buckle up, ladies. You're getting Billy Joyce on the loose tonight. But first, I want to start things off to prove to you. We talk a lot about how this truckers convoy thing, how what's happening out west doesn't affect the rest of it. It's a Alberta issue. Who gives a shit about the oil? It don't matter here in Ontario. It don't mean shit in Quebec. It's BC and Alberta pissing on each other's rope. Who cares? Well, I'll tell you what, folks. As some of you may know, it's middle of February. Yeah, in fact, you know what? This weekend, it's an anniversary for me. You know what this weekend is? The 17th. It was right around this time period a year ago that I got fired from my 5.5-year-long job with a local company because the local anti-racism coalition, after me protesting at Chris Biddle's place, they found out where I work. It wasn't hard. I used to bring the big company 5-ton truck home with the name of the company and the phone number right on the side of it. They figured out where I worked, and after 8 weeks of harassing phone calls, hello? Why do you have a white supremacist working for you? Click. Hello? Why do you have a racist working for you? Click. After 8 weeks of that kind of crap, 6 to 10 phone calls a day, the HR department said, we have to let you go. That was a year ago. Best fucking thing that ever happened. Because now I work for a temp agency, okay? Yeah, I make minimum wage. Just think, at one time in my life, I paid taxes on a 6-digit income, like a number and 5 zeros. I paid taxes on that kind of income, and now I work for minimum wage. And out of that minimum wage, the government takes $2.90 an hour in taxes and deductions off my pay. $2.90 an hour. Lots of fun. I love the government. Anyhow, back to where I was. This whole Alberta trucking thing, it hits each and every one of us. Where I'm working now, I'm working for a third-party contractor, okay? So I'm working in a machine shop doing quality control hired by a third-party contractor to determine the quality of the machine shop's work before it goes to the consumer. Because you can't have the chef rating the quality of his own cooking, okay? You need an independent taste tester. That's me. I'm an independent quality control inspector. And I'm working in a machine shop here in St. Catharines. And this isn't a big company. It's a family-owned business. It's been in business for a long time. Second generation of the family has been through university and is working his way up through the company. He just came back in the fall. He was out west negotiating contracts because we make parts for the oil industry. In fact, this big tote full of T-fittings are what get used in the oil lines. These are what become hose fittings in the oil rigs. Our machine shop mills the holes through them, cuts the threads into them, and these fittings have an 8 to 16 hour life expectancy in the field. These are elbows. These pieces come to us. This is a large tote full of them. I'm looking down on the tote with my camera. In the last picture, you might have seen some of the square wire mesh side of the tote. This picture is taken looking down into a 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot deep tote of these pieces. Each of these pieces weighs in the neighborhood of 300 pounds because they're still raw. They haven't been machined yet. Now, these come to us as a long 12-foot long piece of rolled hardened steel. And we cut them to length. Our machine shop drills the hole. You see how perfectly round those holes, those openings are? We drill the hole down the middle of the pipe and polish the inside of it smooth as glass, like a mirrored finish. Then we heat it with coil induction heating and we bend them. Then we machine the ends to take hose fittings so that flexible hoses can be connected to them. Now, the reason they're polished smooth inside is to reduce abrasion. The T-fittings average 8 to 16 hours. These highly machined pieces of hardened steel, these elbows, they have an 8-hour life expectancy in the field, okay? So you start your shift, and when you start your shift out in the field, you start a brand new hose line because the shift before you just finished replacing all the fittings like these elbows and all the fittings up and down the whole length of the hose line, the pipeline. They've replaced them all because after 8 hours, all the dirt and rock and stone and everything else that comes up out of the ground, it chews up the inside of these pipes and wears them away until the wall gets so thin that the pressure inside from the oil and everything that's being pumped up, that pressure inside the pipe can be enough to cause the pipe to burst. In 8 hours, that much. You see the thickness of those elbows right there beside my head. Those are like 2 inches thick with a 3-inch opening in the center, a hole in the center. Okay, these are big hunks of steel, and the oil and the dirt rip the inside of them away within 8 hours until they're worthless. Now, to give you an idea of the cost, each one of those pieces, when finished, has a $10,000 price tag. The tote that you're looking at right there has been sitting untouched since layoffs went into effect middle December. Our company, where I'm working, the company I'm working at, only has 45 employees, and 15 of them, 30% of the workforce, is laid off because the oil industry no longer needs these $10,000 a piece elbows every 8 hours. Count 3 of them. That's one 24-hour period on one length of hose. Okay? $10,000. Each one of those round, shiny circles is $10,000. And the company hasn't manufactured any, produced any, since before Christmas. Here's another piece for you to look at. This is also part of our machine shop process. These great big huge tubular pieces of steel, the very first cut creates the small little piece sticking out the end. Then the outside is smoothed and rounded to make sure it's all perfectly circular. Then it goes into a lathe. Now the difference between, for those of you who don't know, a lathe is a machine that spins the part that's being shaped. Okay? So a lathe takes this big round block of steel and turns it into something that looks like this. The far end of this piece of steel is that original cut that you saw on in the last picture. These bigger washer faces, these big flat disc faces, they're what were put in by a lathe as the machine was spinning. Okay? So the initial cut that I showed you in the last picture, that's where the lathe takes a hold of the piece of steel and centers it. okay? Then once it's centered and they can spin it, tools come in and cut all of the rest of it away, leaving just this flanged fitting when the lathe is done work. So here's a shot. You can see over top of me, you can see the raw pieces. This cut flange on the end is what you see to the left of the picture beside me. Beside me is a finished emergency cutoff valve for natural gas wells. Where that yellow quality control tag is sticking up, the bolt holes that you see in the top, that's where they mount a large electronically activated emergency shutoff valves so that someone in a safety bunker somewhere farther away than the immediate danger can hit a panic button, and electronically and mechanically this valve shuts off the natural gas flow. That's what this is designed to do. That's what these big blocks of steel are used to make. This piece with that quality assurance tag in it has been sitting there since before Christmas, since mid-December. This one piece finished product is $170,000. And you see right above me, there's 4 blanks waiting to get made into more of them. And there's several partially cut off the lathe waiting to go to a milling machine. All this big flat cutting that you see here where the yellow tag is, those screw holes, bolt holes that are drilled in there, that's all done on a milling machine where the piece sits stationary and the cutting tool is moved around by the computer. Okay, that's the difference between a lathe and a milling machine. On a lathe, the part moves and the cutting tool stays still. On a milling machine, the part stays still and the cutting tool moves. They do the same thing, just different jobs on the same side of the coin, so to speak. They both cut steel, just different ways. So what you see here, this flat face, that was done by a milling machine, and that's what this set up here, this jig that the piece is sitting in now, that's ready to go get rolled into. You see the white wall behind it? That's an open door. This jig and the part will get pushed into, spun around and rolled into the milling machine. The part won't move. The doors will close, of course, and the computer takes over and does all the work. The part won't move, but the machine will come in and bring cutting heads in and shave this round center into a 3-sided block like you see here. That gets done by a milling machine. But none of these pieces are moving. None of these parts are leaving St. Catharines. None of them are leaving our plant. Why? Because the oil industry is basically shut down. So it's not just affecting Alberta, ladies and gentlemen. This truckers convoy that's coming across the country, it's in, I believe, Sault Ste. Marie right now. It's not just Alberta issues that they're on the road about, on the road for. This isn't about Alberta only issues. This is about issues that are affecting the entire country. Now, I was asked here on Skype, am I taking calls? No, I'm not. Sorry. But I am about to make one. As soon as I can find Billy Joyce on Skype here. And he's not on Skype yet. Alright. I know he was out with his family. And he said he'd be back as early as he can. Mr. Galaxy Man in the YouTube chat room says more layoffs coming for Alberta. Let's open up here. I'm going to just have a look here at the... I haven't even checked yet on the Facebook chat room. I don't know how many people are in here. I'm sorry, folks, if I've missed you. Coming in, I was kind of busy getting set up. Jorgen's in there. How you doing, brother? All kinds of people in the Facebook chat. Thank you for joining my show early. I wanted to get that little piece about what's going on here in Niagara and how it's tied in with Alberta. I wanted to get that in before I brought Billy onto the show. And, there he is. He just logged in. Let me give Billy Joyce a call and see if I can get him up here on Skype. He just popped up, so I might be a little premature on calling him. All right, we'll wait for a minute and we'll give him a minute to get logged in here. Because literally his green button on Skype just lit up and I pressed call. He probably hasn't even got headphones plugged in yet, so we'll give him a minute. How's everybody doing tonight? There he is calling me. See? I told you I was just a little bit early, wasn't I, Billy? Yeah. All right, I'm good, brother. I can hear you, and I am going to click that. And now give us just a quick sound check, Billy. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, everyone. How are you? How's everyone doing tonight? Glad to be here.
Folks, Ed, can you let me know in the Facebook chat, are you getting audio on Billy? Just somebody give me a yes or a no. I'm just waiting here. So what's up, Billy, my man? Good weed. Right on. Yep, they're telling us 5x5. We got good sound, brother, so we're good to go.
See, this is my time off, quote unquote, so I get to just relax and be social, Billy.
Yeah, well, it's like I told you on the phone when you said you wanted to come on Duke's show and vent and rant. I said, hey, dude, it's my show, my audience. You can say what you want. You don't have to worry about offending your audience. Although half of your audience are going to wind up seeing this anyhow.
Probably. I think we have similar viewers. I think a lot of people that watch you watch me and vice versa.
Well, dude, it's Billy, it's like I told you. We both speak the same language and we both deliver the same message. We just use different words to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So how's things been? You've been real busy. You've been pumping out videos like a friggin' chicken spitting out eggs, man.
Yeah, and I've invested I have received a lot of donations over the last year, and I'm very thankful for that. So I've invested in some new equipment, and I've been trying to figure that out. I'm waiting for like a GoPro type. I didn't get a GoPro, but I'm getting something similar to it with the head strap and the chest strap. I invested in a tripod. I invested in a new camcorder. I got to figure out how to set that up. I want to start doing more, and I want to start going out more, and I want to start somehow finding a way to travel to events. Like I'd love to be in Ottawa covering the convoy getting there, but I can't allow myself to do it because I got to be here for the radio station as well, right?
Is there any way possible you've got a couple of months to put it in place? Is there any way possible you could be in Ottawa for July?
That one there might be more doable. Because I could probably make a family vacation or that because my wife has family in Ottawa. What's going on in July?
In July, we're having Canadian Combat Coalition, C3, the second annual Canadians for Canada rally. I have Doug Force confirmed as a speaker. I'm waiting to hear back. I've reached out to Tom Quiggin. I haven't heard back from him yet, but he's busy. So there's lots of time yet. I'm hoping to get Christine Douglas Williams in. I'd love to, if you can make it, I'd have you as a speaker, brother.
Jeez, what are the dates?
It's July 20th from 2 in the afternoon till 7 at night. So we're waiting until after the worst of the heat of the day, because Ottawa can be hot and muggy like your armpit.
Oh, I know. I spent 6 weeks there in 2001. It was ridiculous. One day in Major Park, it was 40 degrees Celsius, and they had us in a white tent with clear windows on top of the tent, broadcasting. And I was doing the 1 p.m. No, I was doing the 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. show.
Oh, nothing like putting you in a hothouse.
I was drinking 12 bottles of water per show.
Holy jeez.
Yeah.
Did they at least give you a funnel and a bucket so you didn't have to run to the bathroom every commercial break?
Well, that was an issue, but we played music too, right? We had music on the channel.
Yeah.
And there were porta potties not too far away.
Ah, good. But, so Inagata Davida got lots of airtime.
Yeah, and then I had to bring a change of shirt.
Wow.
It was so hot. It was like just hot, sticky. We were 3-4 people in that little tent. But it was an experience, though, because it was francophones from all over the world, and I learned on that trip, like on that, I don't know what you call it, a project. It was francophones from all over the world there to do radio covering the equivalent of the Olympics for francophone countries. It's the francophone games of the world. And I didn't realize how many francophones there were worldwide. And there are communities in Belgium that speak the old French that you still hear in certain communities in Nova Scotia, where the old French that started in Nova Scotia, say 400 years ago, when they came here from France, they kept it. They kept that old French alive to this day. It's pretty fascinating. So when I heard a guy from Brussels, Belgium, use the same kind of language that they do when counting to 100 in jumps of 10, it absolutely shocked me. It shows how small the world is in a way, because at some point, the old French that we're speaking here in Nova Scotia originated in Europe somewhere. It's the same place where the old French that they're speaking in Belgium did. So 400 years later, you got people in Nova Scotia and people in Belgium speaking the same language. It's crazy, eh?
6 degrees of separation, my friend. 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, and it was a guy from Poland that made me realize just how fortunate I was to be from a family that thought important enough to preserve our French. This guy was doing a thesis on the Acadians of Nova Scotia. And when I told him I was an Acadian from Nova Scotia, the man literally started crying and gave me a hug and said, "Oh my God, a real Acadian." And he hugged me. And I still get emotional sometimes because you grow up your whole life and you take your own culture for granted. It's almost torn from you. You're treated. You find out that your family's been treated like second-class citizens since 1755, basically. And we're the ones that got here first and coexisted with the natives and intermarried and lived peacefully until it was all fucked up by the Jesuits and the British.
Cha-ching.
So sorry for getting emotional, but it sucks because I
apologize for anything, sir.
I realize how many Canadians have been duped on their own history, and especially on the history of our brothers and sisters across this glorious land that we all love. Yeah, and that pisses me off.
I'll tell you another way to look at it, Billy. What Canadians are waking up to right now, what John Q. Canadian, non-Métis, non-history understanding Canadian is waking up to as today's reality of how bad we're all getting fucked over, has been the reality of people like you and Métis and natives for generations. Yeah, it's just been implemented against us so slowly that we haven't noticed the 1,000 tiny little stab wounds that have killed us the way they've tried to kill the Métis and the natives and anybody else they wanted to control.
Yeah.
They were just very blatant about, okay, we're taking you motherfuckers from here, and all you mateys are getting stuffed out in the West where you've never been and have no idea how to survive, because there's no ocean and there's no fishing, and if we're lucky, all you fuckers will starve to death. That's why we're going to send you out there.
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah. Oh, I know. But yet they tell all the rest of the white Canada that they did it because, hey, we needed to populate the West. And it relieved tension between the British and everybody else out here in the East. So it worked good. Meanwhile, what it was the government's attempt at genocide.
You know, every time I talk to you, I learn something new. Like, I knew about the Métis going west, but I didn't realize how they had been partially forced that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I see. I still have so much to learn. So every time I talk to you, I learn something new.
You have to keep in mind, it was done at the same, not exactly the same, but during the same sociological mindset era of, well, the Indians will be better off if we put them on a reservation. During that same time period when society and the leaders had this mindset was when they convinced the public that we're going to help these poor Métis who are barely surviving on the East Coast. Meanwhile, they're happy people, productive, living their own lives, just not playing the fucking central government game. They're doing their own thing. That's all. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm a man of the land, right?
Yeah.
That's
Get out of here. I'm
going
to shoot you.
Dude. They just weren't playing the corporate taxation, vote, obey the queen bullshit. Okay?
Yeah. No, you're right.
The price they paid for that was, fine, you're going to go out in the middle of fucking Manitoba and do it out there, motherfucker, where nobody in Toronto, Quebec City, and Montreal can hear about you, or Halifax can hear about you. Think about where the nucleuses of power and influence were. Halifax, Quebec, Montreal, Toronto.
Yeah, and I even see it now where, like in Nova Scotia, for example, a lot of the Métis didn't head west. They hid in the woods with the Mi'kmaq and made their way north in their own province in Nova Scotia, or some went to New Brunswick or PEI. But Nova Scotia and Cape Breton, especially after Cape Breton was taken over by the British. I think it was before that they went to Cape Breton and then hid it within Cape Breton to hide from the British afterwards. And then eventually, I mean, my ancestry goes so far back, that's why I don't really look Métis. But the thing is that our family kept a lot of those traditions, you know, trapping, hunting, fishing, telling tales, like we don't have much of it's more on the way of life than it is the religious beliefs, for example. But a lot of the Mi'kmaq adopted the European side of, you know, the Catholicism. Yep. Like a lot of the Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia are Catholic. So it kind of goes both ways, where they're, you know, the people that identify as Acadian, that have identified as Acadian because we didn't know any better. Well, a lot of us are Acadian Métis, and a lot of the traditions that we thought were influenced by the European side of the Acadian Métis was actually influenced by the Mi'kmaq side. And that's all we want to acknowledge by the government. Acknowledge that you fucked us over. Acknowledge that you hid our identity from us for fucking 250 years.
Yeah. Purposely.
Just do it. And then go tell everyone else across Canada how you've lied to them and everything you've lied to them about. And my God, like, I don't know. We really need these lies exposed so that all Canadians can start uniting rather than bickering over divisions that they created for us.
Daryl Inkster, a fella I've had on my show with me just 2 nights ago, Friday night, Daryl was on. He's in the YouTube chat room, and he says, we landed in Winnipeg. We were forced to go to the southern U.S. and northern U.S. as well.
Oh, wow.
He's Métis.
Wow.
Yeah, he's out in Dauphin, Manitoba, little pinpoint on the map.
And what they do, and what they'll do with the Métis, and what they'll do with Aboriginal groups. I had a discussion with a friend of mine he's involved with. Well, he's a friend of mine. I just met him, but he's involved with the People's Party of Canada. We had a good chat. He's from a reserve, He's a band counselor, and we started talking about how what the provincial and federal government will do is they will go in and they'll influence the chiefs and they'll influence some of the counselors and wine and dine them. And then all of a sudden, you'll get the reserves chief falling in line with the political parties of the day. And then all of a sudden, the money's not being dispersed the way it's supposed to be. And it's like in the Métis groups. Right now, see, I don't have notes on that because I didn't think we were going to get into it. But right now, there's a few different national organizations that supposedly represent the Métis. And there are a couple of groups that are opposing each other because one of the groups doesn't want to acknowledge that there are Métis in Atlantic Canada or even east of Ontario. The Powley case in Northern Ontario, that was huge. So they acknowledged that, but further east than that, they don't want to acknowledge any kind of Métis living out here because
they want the impression is that they cleared them all out 3 generations ago.
Right, but the other fear is that there was corruption apparently in one of the lead organizations at the national level. So that's being sorted out. My cousin is actually the band leader for the local Métis group that formed that's fighting for their rights, and they're doing some pretty good work. But with the Conservatives or the Liberals at the helm, I just can't see anything changing.
There's only so much Doug Ford can do in Ontario because it's not a provincial issue, right?
That's right. It's a federal issue.
Yeah. So
what'll happen there is the provinces will bounce it back to the federal level, but then the feds will say, well, take it to provincial court, and they play games, right? I have more information on this. I just don't have it handy, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to say anything that's inaccurate.
Yeah.
Because it's not. Yeah, I'm not really an expert on the topic, but I know enough to know that there's everything I just said. The point was there's so much corruption in every single organization that gets involved with the government. If the wrong people are at the helm, that it's got to be cleaned up. And the only way to clean it up, I think, is from within. It's either that, or you need, and I'm not condoning this, and I don't want it to have to come to this, but you'd need, I'd say, a good 150,000 men ready, willing, and able to storm government buildings and take over by force. So it's got to be done internally politically, or it's got to be done by force. Those are that's where we're at. Sucks.
Well,
that's where
long
we're at.
before Canadians ever storm Parliament, the government here is going to do what they're doing in France, and they're going to start killing patriots on the street.
Well, then if that happens, well, then you have no choice. You got to bear arms.
Exactly, and that's what's coming. Like, as much as people say, well, there's got to be a peaceful solution. I asked Tom Quiggin, and if anybody in this country is going to give you a straight up, truthful answer, is there a non-violent solution? Can this solution be found without violence? And he answered the question very simply. Wherever radical Islam goes, violence goes with it. So no, we won't solve this problem because changing the government will mean pissing off all the people who support the government and who the government supports. Well,
that's fine.
You piss them off, guess what they're going to do? They're going to pull out guns and start. The Danforth Avenue shooting is going to become Main Street every little town.
Yeah, but the only way that's going to happen is if the government changes. So if the government changes, that means we'll have the government on our side and the military on our side. So then it's less angst. It's less to worry about.
Is it?
I think. If you get the right person in. But
you
then
live with a cop outside the front door of your home or walking beside you every time you go to town?
I don't think that'll happen here. It may happen in the cities, but that's what
it may happen in Halifax. It may not happen in your little town. It may happen in Hamilton and Toronto and Kingston and Ottawa and every other town with more than 30,000 people in it.
It could.
It may happen in towns with 5,000 people and just happen to have one radical teenager in the only Muslim family or the only Sikh family, for that matter, who decides, well, helmet laws don't apply, neither does anything else. Like, let's face it, dude, maybe there'll be some Antifa freak who runs around and does it. Like, how long before the next Canadian Tire terrorist attack?
I guess the way I look at it is, I always like to be proactive about things. I don't like being reactive. And what you seem to be indicating there is going to be more of a reactionary situation where we're going to react to something. But I say we got to change it now. And the only way to change it now, or as soon as possible, is either we become the aggressors. Not we're waiting for anyone to be the aggressors. We become the aggressors, and if it means getting killed. Don't forget, in France, they've got no guns.
I know.
In Canada, rural Canadians have guns.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so when the riot police decides to throw bombs at us, I know people that will open fire.
It's not police. Billy, this is where people are making the mistake too.
That's what you alluded. That's
guy in blue, right?
You alluded to that earlier, that the police would start killing Canadians.
Well,
so that's what I'm saying. Is someone dressed as a police officer?
I shouldn't have said the police. The government, I think, is what I said. The government is going to start killing people. They're going to start killing patriots. Now, that doesn't mean your local Niagara Regional Police Constable is going to walk up and shoot you because you're wearing a yellow vest. It means the government is going to bring out SWAT teams. They're going to bring out the local militia to bring down riots of extremists. And that's what the newspapers are going to report. And they're going to kill people with rubber bullets at point-blank range, which is what's happening in France. That's how people have been killed, with rubber bullets at point-blank range.
But what I'm saying is, I think if that happens in Canada, in France, they don't have guns.
No, I know. Here in Canada, the Ted Nugents in the U.S. will be crossing the border and coming up here real damn fast.
Right. And how long do you think it's going to take for Donald Trump to send up the Marines?
Exactly.
If he knows that the government,
we as patriots have a big brother right south of us who's going, dude, you don't stand on guard alone. Trust me.
Exactly. So right now, the way I see it is, the best move for Canadian patriots is to get behind, and I know some people are turned off by it, but get behind Maxime Bernier.
Yeah.
That, to me, right now at this point, it's the best move, because if he's actually telling the truth, and I believe he is, he's the only guy that's offering anything different. I mean, I watched the Burnaby South debates. I've been looking at, like, I've gone through the public domain to find dirt on Bernier. Like, I heard accusations that he had ties to Peter Monk, and the only thing I found was your typical $1,200 contribution to his PPC riding in Beauce. Well, fuck, billionaires do that with every single political party to get a tax write-off. From that $1,200, he probably got $600 back as a tax write-off, rather than give more to, so if that's the worst, well, let's talk about Brian Mulrooney's ties to Barrick Gold, or let's talk about Kenny there from Alberta bowing down to the Aga Khan.
Exactly.
Like, if we're going to talk about that kind of stuff, or Stephen Harper is the one that got us into the Association for Islamic Cooperation, the International Organization for Islamic Cooperation. Stephen Harper is the one that signed us into that one.
Yeah. Harper was bringing terrorists back into this country before Trudeau ever got elected. There were 90 of them here when Trudeau got elected.
There you go. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Like, people are up in arms thinking it was just Trudeau, and the conservatives are our saviors. Whoa, back the bus up here, Vern. Harper was bringing them back into Canada before Trudeau got elected, so be careful who you're praising. Okay. There's a couple of comments here in the Facebook chat. Where did this one go here? Oh, and I've lost it. Damn.
Yeah, and I don't have my other laptop open. I didn't get a chance. I was doing other stuff, and then I lost track of time, so I don't have it streaming on my other laptop, so I don't see anything that's going on.
Oh, here it is. I don't think the cops are going to. There are a few underground groups who would appear pretty quick. Ron, I'm not quite sure what that comment was about, but I will tell you.
No, that's about attacking yellow vests and patriots. That's what that comment's about.
Right.
It's not the cops that would
sure
do
whether
it.
he's what side of the coin he's supporting, though, right? But
I'd say he may mean Antifa, like groups like that, disguising themselves as police officers or riot cops.
Well, that could be, and there's going to be all kinds of games that we can expect to be played. Like,
well, I'm curious to see what happens in Ottawa when that convoy lands. I'm curious to see what groups are there to oppose what's going on.
Antifa is pretty strong in Ottawa, let's face it. It's the nation's capital. So, of course, their organizers are going to spend a lot of time in the universities there, because that's all there is in Ottawa. There's no industry. There's just the government and universities, okay? The places that create people who feed the bureaucracy. It's like their picking fields. It's where they grow their crop of bureaucrats, is in the universities in Ottawa. So Antifa is pretty strong. I want to point out, though, and this is something I can say from personal experience, the average cop on the street is no different than you and me.
I agree.
They pay taxes.
I agree.
They pay $1.05 a liter for gas. They pay through the nose for a bag of milk and a loaf of bread, just like we are, okay? And I'll tell you how I know this. Just a few weeks ago, back in January, we were out doing a protest, and a cruiser pulled up to the four-way stop at the intersection, went over a kitty corner from me and was talking to Ron Devereaux, flicked the lights on, cut kitty corner through the intersection from corner to corner, pulled up to me with his window open, and as I see him coming over, I'm thinking, okay, this ought to be fun. His window's open. As he pulls up and stops, he's holding his cell phone out the window and says, "You must be Duke Willis. I recognize your picture." And there's a picture of me in my video from the night before. He looks up and says, "My wife's been following you for a year. She loves you. Don't worry, brother. We got your back out here." And he drove away. And I'll tell you honestly, every police officer that Ron Devereaux deals with, when he calls to tell them where we're going to be and what we're doing, the ones he talks to on the phone, they're the most helpful people ever, okay? They appreciate us calling. They take drives by and give us thumbs up. They know who we are. They know what we're out there doing. I've talked to them because they've come by, and you know, Ron and I are out there. They if the traffic's not busy, they'll roll the window down. "You guys okay? Having any trouble?" They've told us, "We don't support this new drinking driving law that the feds have brought in, where cops can walk in and charge you right in your own backyard or in your own living room for drinking and driving." They don't support it. They don't support a lot of this. They want to see our borders closed. And I live in a border town. The bridge to the USA is only 20 minutes from here.
Yeah. Well, I know two of my best friends are former cops, so I have nothing but respect for most cops. Like even some of the active duty police officers around here that I've known, most of them are decent guys. You talk to them, and a lot of the times they don't like having to deal with some of the situations they're dealing with. They only do it because there have been formal complaints filed against someone for this, that, or the other thing.
Yep.
You know, so, and that's why I say, yes, I believe the Muslim population whose intention was to come here and take over Canada. If the right guy, even let's say Scheer gets in, if Scheer is sincere about cleaning up terrorism and, you know, the at-risk population, I doubt he'll do it. I think Bernier is more likely to do it. And even Bernier, I'm not sure if he's been clear that he wants to deport them, or if it's moving forward, we have to vet better. You know what I mean? But I think I heard him allude to possibly re-screening everyone that's here, and anyone that's questionable will got to go. And he said, anyway, he said, refugees aren't supposed to come permanently. They're supposed to come for a short while and then send them back once their country's ready to accept them back.
Yeah, that's why they're refugees, not landed immigrants.
Right. So I don't know. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. but I know his views on immigration are great. And the fact that he'll have pro-life people representing his party as well as pro-choice people, and like, I don't know if you had a chance to see the video I put together on the Burnaby South situation, because
I watched about 3/4 of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, she was a host on a conservative Christian radio show. So, of course, her position is that she's pro-life. But there are other candidates in the PPC party that are pro-choice. There are PPC candidates that are gay. You know what I mean? And it's like myself personally, I have friends that are gay. Now, I have people that are gay that I know that don't like me. It's probably because they don't really take the time to really hear out my view on the whole situation. Like, people automatically assume that because you're Christian, you're anti-gay. It's not that you're anti-gay. It's that you view it as I view it as not acceptable.
I don't have to agree with your choice. I respect that it's your choice. Don't ask me to agree with it. That's all.
Right. And then on the whole thing of gay marriage, it's like, well, okay, well, I don't agree that
not in my church.
Right. You don't do it in church. You want to go get married with the justice of the peace, go right ahead. You know, what I don't get is how the LGBT community will somehow align themselves with the Muslim community that wants to move here from all over the world, without realizing that there's a very large portion of that Muslim community who would have no problem at all with them being tossed off of a building for the sole reason that they're gay. That's law in a lot of these countries where Sharia law is the law of the land. And it's not a question of do you kill gays, it's a question of how do we kill them. Stoning, crucifixion, throw them off a building, behead. I mean, the options are limitless with them, right?
I'm just looking here, because somewhere I have a clip. I'm just going to play, I've got 2 of them here from Tom Quiggin. I'm going to see if I can add them quickly into the OBS software here. And let's bring it here. Get rid of that.
That's one thing I have a hard time doing. Bringing in like video players. I can bring in an internet page, no problem. But I can't bring in a video player. It just won't load for me for some reason.
Oh, you know what? Go into, if you're using Chrome, which works.
No, it has nothing to do with the website. It's like if I try to use Windows Media Player, for example, if I try to use that as a window in OBS, it won't allow me. Or I just don't know where to look, maybe.
That's weird.
But
you
we
tried
can talk,
window capture?
Yeah, we can talk about that some other time, though.
Yeah, okay. I'm just looking through.
I'll let you do what you're doing.
Yeah, TQ video clips. This might be the one. I'm not sure 100%. We are at war. It might be in... Okay, I got a couple here that I'm going to try. If this isn't the first one, trust me, it's Tom Quiggin. It's not going to be boring anyhow, folks. So.
Okay, I'm going to grab my laptop and the other one and try to watch that.
All right, well, give me a second then. Let's try this.
I think that the party that has been worst, actually, let me back up. The party that was targeted first for entryism, in other words, Islamists joined the party in order to gain political influence, to gain for their own cause. In other words, classical communist.
You broadcasting on YouTube or Facebook? Which comments are you watching? I'll send on the other one
first. The Islamists gave up after a while because they realized even if they could run the NDP, the NDP's not going anywhere. Or so it seems. Sorry to say that, but I mean, at the federal level, the NDP has never formed a national government. The party they went after next were the Liberals and the Conservatives. They have found a bit of success in the provincial Conservative Party, which has its own problems right now, but where they found a home was within the Liberal Party. So they once they pushed on all three doors, which they did do.
You let me know.
The door that moved the easiest for them was the Liberal Party, for a variety of reasons. Now, some of my best sources in all of this stuff are actually liberals, and there's many liberals who are horrified at what's happening to the party, and they sit in the back row of Parliament, or they sit in their homes and they watch this stuff, and they're just horrified at what's happening.
Okay, and it just ended. I got talking to you and lost track of what Tom was talking about. Sorry about that. I see John in the YouTube chat says mute my mic, reverb. What you were getting there was reverb between the desktop audio with Billy and the direct video audio from that video. I hope that supplied or provided Tom Quiggin talking about how the leftists always seem to associate with the Islamists, and when the Islamists take control, the leftist winds up being the first ones the Islamists kill. I'm not sure if that's the clip that had that, but I do have a clip of Tom Quiggin talking about that, and I think that might have been the clip there. I'm not sure.
Tom Quiggin's actually said this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I've tried to email you some stuff from Tom Quiggin, but it's such big files it won't attach to an email.
I'm wondering if we should set up a Dropbox.
If you want to do that, you can. I don't know how.
Yeah, I've always clicked on it and received stuff. I've never set one up. Yeah, I could look into that. Another way to do it, too, is with TeamViewer. With TeamViewer, there's a feature called file transfer.
Oh, I have TeamViewer.
That's one way to do it.
Oh,
we can do that. We can do that some other time too. We're going to bore the listeners with this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
We'll do that some other time.
I just got a message from Ed Jamnisek, and he says Carl Edward Fluery. I've been trying to get a hold of Carl for the past few hours. Carl Edward Fluery won't be available until about 10:30. They had fireworks in Sault Ste. Marie to welcome the convoy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Like, holy jeez.
I really believe this populist movement is catching on right across the country.
Dude, it was a snowball a year ago, and it's just turning into a fucking avalanche. It is. You wouldn't believe the people that are honking and giving us thumbs up when we're out doing our little sidewalk rallies. Just four of us. The street never goes quiet.
I'm telling you. And that's why I think if people would just, like, I don't know, I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but if people just gave Bernier a chance and got behind him, the change we could affect is ridiculous. Like I firmly
believe that Bernier is a man who will accept having his eyes opened.
Right. Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
Remember when he said to you, I don't know who Tom Quiggin is? I think people are telling me you froze on YouTube here or on Skype. Let me see if I can pick that back up. They've got your audio. Remember when he told you he didn't know who Tom Quiggin was?
Yes.
That, to me, was proof that they live in a bubble.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And he seems like the type that wants to get out of that bubble and really listen to Canadians. Like, for example, Andrew Scheer was in Nova Scotia last week at a rally in, I think it's called Annapolis. It's what we call the Valley. And it's where Acadia University is. It's one of the big universities, one of the Protestant universities. And anyway, Andrew Scheer's there. And when you look at the contrast between the crowd that was at the Andrew Scheer rally and the crowd that was at the Maxime Bernier rally, well, at the Scheer rally, it was 80% suits and ties. At the Bernier rally, it was probably 90%, steel toe boots or sneakers or just casual.
Joe Canadians.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I found impressive. Like people involved at the EDA level, at the Electoral District Association level, the blue collar and the not even white collar, I probably called them more like, engineers, people like myself. Like, I guess you can call me white collar because I work in radio. But I've kind of done I've done a lot of stuff. Like, life has prepared me for this kind of stuff. And when I look back on it, I'm like, all the hardships I've had have kind of prepared me to be able to debate these kind of issues because I've fucking been there. I've been the fucking guy shoveling crap or digging ditches with a pick and shovel or putting 300-pound logs on my shoulder, walking through 2-3 feet of snow all fucking winter. I've done that. I've done those things. I've served liquor. I've served alcohol. I've worked in economic development. I've run a radio station. I've done TV. I've done radio. And I can proudly say that I've only been fired once. And it was by a guy who wears a suit and tie. And I'm not going to say any more than that to not get myself in legal trouble. But yeah, and honestly, well, I can say this: I put him on the spot and caught him doing something backhanded short while before I got fired, and I firmly believe that was the reason for it because I called him out not publicly, but within a board of directors of community leaders, and I proved that he had lied to them. And at the time, he was my boss, and I was the president of the organization. And it was a short time later that it all went south. But I have no regrets because I wouldn't be where I'm at if that didn't happen. So I thank him whenever I get a chance.
I just got a message on Skype from somebody. He said, "What are you smoking?" I said, "I'm smoking a vape," and Billy was puffing a joint. He said, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah, it's legal now, so people can't be uptight about it anymore. It'd be the equivalent of sitting here drinking a beer at 10 o'clock at night.
Did you catch any of my show last night with Doug Force from Nephilim Films?
I didn't, Duke. You asked me what I've been up to and how busy I was. The last video I put out, I started working on that Friday afternoon. I worked on that all day Friday afternoon, and then I went to play poker Friday night because Friday night's my poker night. I made $185, and then Saturday I worked on it from 12 noon until 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, is when I probably passed out because that's the last time I looked at the clock. I woke up at 5 with the laptop sitting on my lap, sitting in my lazy boy working on this video, and then I went to sleep. And then this morning,
I'll tell you what, Doug Force from Nephilim Films, who was on with me last night, he's here in the chat room. You want to bring him in? You could meet him, talk.
Sure. I'm always.
You want to come in, Doug? I'll message you on Skype.
I've heard of Doug Force. Does he do YouTube videos?
No.
Does he write articles?
Doug is the author of a pending movie. Actually, whoa, hang on. Wait, let me bring Billy back up here. And are you still there, Billy? Oh no. Don't tell me. Resume call. There it is. Okay, you're still there. Billy, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do I add somebody to... Oh, there it is. This new Skype has me all screwed up because everything's in different places. Add. There we go. Oh,
I don't see Doug.
He's unavailable all of a sudden.
Cool Cat 666. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. This is tricky because I dial it on one computer and it rings on both of them. I have to hang up on both computers here because I have two computers on the go, right?
See, the last thing I heard was...
I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Oh.
Cool Cat 666. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's me. I don't have the camera on tonight, Duke. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. That's fine, Doug. How are you? I dial it on one computer and it rings on both of them. I have to hang up on both computers here because I have two computers on the go, right? Okay, somebody's got their audio. Doug, you're going to have to put on headphones or turn your audio down a bit so we don't get feedback?
Yeah, how's that?
That's a little better. Okay. Billy, say hi to Doug Force. We can't see him. He doesn't have his cam on. We can just hear him.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Not too bad at all. If you give me, I tell you what, if you give me a couple of minutes, I'll go hook the cam up, and then I'll be right back to you. Don't disconnect. What I'll do is I got to go get the camera.
Yeah, go get it and hook it up and let us know when you're back.
Well, you'll see me. I'll just plug it in and I'll be back.
Yeah. Cool. Billy, just so you understand here, Doug is working on the concept that, well, you and I have talked about it.
Oh,
none of these governments are legal.
The myth is Canada.
Yes. Yes.
That's where I've heard Doug Force before.
Yes.
And I watched, I think it must have been a 3 or 4 hour video he did with someone. And it was very interesting, but I'll be honest, I had a hard time grasping a lot of the stuff that he was talking about.
Yeah, and so do a lot of people, and that's not unusual. Like, think about how long you've been digging down rabbit holes and learning all the little dots and connecting those dots as you go down that rabbit hole. It's been a long learning process, right? Same thing with Doug. He's been down a rabbit hole and he's been connecting the dots and digging from one rabbit hole laterally over to another one, and just like you do through Q and through all the other things that you dig and investigate into, okay? You go down rabbit holes and you wind up coming up a gopher hole and going 5 feet over and back down another gopher hole and then back into a rabbit hole, and sometimes you find a snake hole, and like, and
well,
Doug's done the same thing. So what I tried to do last night,
you missed a step there, Duke. You go down the rabbit hole and then you come back up and you come out of the rabbit hole and then you report on it. And then you go back down the rabbit hole.
Oh, no, there's a big step in between. As you're coming up the rabbit hole, you're thinking, all right, all the shit in here, I now have to formulate into a thought process that people who have no idea there even is a rabbit hole can understand what I saw down the rabbit hole that doesn't exist. That's the world Doug Force has been in for the last probably 5 or 6 years now.
Actually, it's a little bit longer than that, Duke.
Pardon me?
It was a little bit longer than that.
A little bit longer than that? Yeah.
Can you see me now?
Surprised.
I do. Hi, Doug.
Pleasure.
Welcome back to my show, only tonight we're CPR, Canadian Patriot Report.
Nice. I had a great time on your show last night. Thank you.
My audience loved you, buddy. I knew we could put things as technical as you are and as technical as all your knowledge is. I knew we could find a way to put things into terms that the average untechnical, unlegalized Canadian can understand. And we achieved that last night beautifully, buddy. And if we can keep doing that on a semi-regular basis for people, we are going to inform them. They're already awake. They need to know, and they're hungry for information. And last night, you delivered to my audience like I could only have dreamed of.
Well, thank you. It's taken a long time to actually assimilate it in my brain so that I could speak it out in terms other people could understand. That's for sure.
Well, we achieved that last night. Now, Billy, I want Doug to explain to you some of the things that someone like Max Bernier, who, if he got into power, would have to deal. I know Doug just made a face over that, but what he might have to look at as far as fixing what's broken, like from the inside out, if he were able to do that as a politician.
Well, step one, in my opinion, would be sit down and talk to Doug Force. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm a president of an EDA for the People's Party of Canada.
Cool. And the thing that we need to do is we can't fix a de facto government. It's there illegally and unlawfully. And that's what we have. And it's been there since the January of 1932, considering the Statute of Westminster ended the Dominion of Canada December 1931. So come January, the Mandarins in Ottawa decided that they didn't want to lose their power or their wealth, and they decided not to tell the people of Canada that they had the ability to confederate and create a lawful federal authority. But we didn't do it because we were never informed. And so time went on, and they got very scared in the late 1970s and early 1980s, and that's when Trudeau decided to, for lack of a better term, fix it and pretend that we have a constitution. And the reality is, it's not. It's an act created by a foreign government to incorporate a nation state known as Canada. And the UK did that in 1948 with the State of Israel, and in 1923 with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And so Canada became Corp Canada, as people like to call it, or the real name is, the name of the corporation that was incorporated is called the Government of Canada. And regrettably, that's where we are today. But we can fix it. I mean, it's not hard to fix. As a matter of fact, the process is a lot simpler than what most people would think. The first thing is people need to have knowledge of what has happened. And the second thing is that they need to hold a constitutional convention and then create a constitution that seats a de jure government. And today, electronically, with the internet and email and smartphones and iPads, et cetera, holding a constitutional convention with all the people of Ontario or all the people of Alberta is very simple. Because we're all electronically connected. Unlike in Philadelphia in 1787, when they held the Constitutional Convention for the United States, they had to elect delegates from the 13 originals. They went to Philadelphia, blah, blah, blah. A couple of years later, they had a constitution for the federal authority. We could do that literally in a few months with the knowledge out to the people and then seat a de jure government. I would say that all the provinces could have a de jure government within 6 months. And then at that point, if they so chose to create a federal authority, we could hold a constitutional convention to do that and create a de jure federal authority known as Canada.
So who calls a constitutional convention?
You and I, anybody, we all do. Because we the people.
No, but that's not what I mean, though. For it to be recognized, like, who recognizes it? How does it change? Who changes it? What do you need? 50% of every person in every province? I'm trying to understand.
Okay,
like the people in Ottawa that are.
And do.
It sounds cute, but how long do you think the process like that would take?
Well, here's the wonderful thing about being electronically connected today. The whole movie that we're creating here, The Myth is Canada, is to help people understand what has happened. That's the first 2/3 of the movie. The last third of the movie is going to tie in with an interactive website, which explains what a constitutional convention is, how to hold one, what is a constitution, how to create one. With an interactive website, we'll have boilerplates of constitutions up there. We'll have the downloadable PDF files on how to hold a constitutional convention, even have a cut and paste for you as to what you can put into a constitution with other examples of constitutions out there that are there today. So that people will come from a place of understanding. And that way we can build what we had the right to do it in 1932. January of 1932, we had the right to do it. To this day, we have the right to do it. We just haven't done it. And the reason for that is because the powers that be don't want to give up their power or their wealth.
Well, there's that. And then you have the problem of cognitive dissonance amongst the people.
Yes.
Where you're going to have to undertake a project of reversing decades of brainwashing. That would, because you have a hard time convincing. Like, I understand what you're saying now. Like, now I remember, because I was telling that to Duke while you were away there. I saw you did like a 3 or 4 hour show with someone that I watched, and I think I may have watched it twice, and I understood it. But I guess the part that I was having a hard time grasping was being able to actually get that many Canadians understanding what you're talking about. But now you're talking about this movie, and I kind of said it tongue in cheek when I said you should sit down with Maxime Bernier, but I'm serious about it because, like, I'm not sure how quickly this could happen, but imagine how much quicker it could happen if you actually had the support of someone who's genuinely seeking to help all of Canada. Like, this is a guy that's talking about using clauses in the Constitution that I've never heard politicians mention, like declaring the pipeline in the national interest and going against his own riding, going against like people in his own riding in his own province, saying, no, we're going to send this pipeline in both directions so that all Canadians can get to work. And he also mentioned the Constitution on something else. But it's like when I asked him about Tom Quiggin, he didn't know who Tom Quiggin was. I think a lot of these politicians live in bubbles, and a lot of times they only know what they've been told. And a lot of the politicians, I think, are kept in the dark by senior bureaucrats. And I've talked to politicians because I'm from radio, so I've spoken to mostly provincial, but I have talked to a lot of federal politicians as well. And this guy here is unique in the sense that he never asks for the questions. I mean, I asked him some tough questions, including opening the Constitution. And he said, I pushed him on it because it had to do with getting rid of the Queen, getting rid of our allegiance to the Queen and becoming a republic and restructuring our entire system of governance. And he kind of giggled about it. But when I pushed him on, he says, well, it's certainly not something that we'd look at in our first mandate. Now, I don't know if he was just shutting me up or if I could insinuate that maybe in a second mandate after looking at evidence, he changed his mind, because he changed his mind on the whole issue of transgenderism after he sat down and spoke with Jordan Peterson. He sat down and spoke with Jordan Peterson and went from supporting the whole issue of transgender bathrooms and such to now seeing it differently. You know, so like the C-16. Right. And that's what I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
There was that and other things, yeah.
I just one quick question to you. Bill, is it, right?
Yeah, Bill, doesn't matter.
Bill, well, you keep mentioning a Constitution, and
it doesn't exist.
I just the curious question: what Constitution? We don't have a Constitution.
I get it, but I get what you're saying, and I'm learning it. But when you tell that to 99% of Canadians, they're going to look at you like you've got 10 heads. But if you've got someone who is elected by them, who learns it, who you inform, you show them the law, you sit there and you show them the movie. And like I've talked to the guy, he seems genuine. I've talked to dozens of politicians, and they're always kind of sneaky or snaky, or this guy here just seems like you're your ordinary guy who he's entrepreneurial and he wants to help typical Canadians.
Well,
that's what I get from him.
The show I think that I was on that you heard that was going for 3 hours. I was on with Kevin Johnson and Mike Phillips on Kevin Johnson's Facebook. We did about 3 hours one afternoon or one evening. It was quite a marathon run, and everybody kept typing in, Kevin, will you shut up and let Doug talk?
I like your idea. I like it, and I can't wait to see that movie. I'm just wondering how long would it take to actually rally people behind such a new idea. Like, this is going to be foreign to a lot of people. I get what you're saying. And
well, here's the thing, Bill. And asked the question this during the War of Independence in the United States from the empire known as Great Britain at that time. Do you know how much of the population actually was involved in being winter soldiers and fighting that war?
Something like 20 or 30%.
Oh gosh, no, that's way too much.
I thought it was 3%. It was only 3%.
3% of the population defeated the biggest empire in the world.
Okay, but how did they do it?
No, that was throughout the entire Revolutionary War. They were the winter soldiers.
Yeah,
so they were the ones that held the line.
At the beginning of the Revolutionary War, it represented about 3% of the population. By the end of the war, there was about 15 to 17% of the population total involved in either combat or supportive roles. Okay? So like Teamsters who drove horse and wagon, they were considered involved in the war. If they were hauling wounded soldiers back from the battlefield to the hospital, they were part of that 15 to 17% involved in the war. But when it first started, yeah, Doug's right, it was only actually less than 3% of the population in that first winter of the war.
Well, and so when you ask this, how much would it take? If we took on even 10% of the population here in Canada, that's 3 million people, and they told two people that told two people, we would very, very quickly turn this around. And the reason that we're doing a documentary is because I can reach at least 3 million people with this information in a documentary. And if it's done correctly, it's a step-by-step process to teach somebody that will break through their cognitive dissonance. I believe that most people have an intelligence quotient of somewhere between 90 and 110 IQ. That most people are within that IQ range, and if you're in that IQ range and you're stuck with a little cognitive dissonance, it doesn't take much to fix that.
That's bad news for a lot of people I know then.
I said I believe most people. I didn't say all.
My goodness.
Okay. And you got to be generous with what the belief of what I'm doing and what we're doing at Nephilim Films to bring this out is there are other avenues that we could have chosen. We just thought that making a documentary film would probably be the most efficient and most straightforward way of delivering this information. And once it's done, it gets rolled out. People then have the opportunity to work, because we're going to do the interactive website where you can come and actually learn all about constitutions and how to write them. There'll be a boilerplate constitution there. There'll be more and more information. And I'll personally take care of even doing online interviews, or not interviews so much as teaching.
Tutorials.
Tutorials, thank you. To help
So here's a question for you.
Go ahead.
So let's say you reach 6 million people, and 6 million people hold this constitutional convention, and then the other 31 million people in Canada, are they just going to fall in line, or are we going to create a separate country apart from the rest of the country that still follows? That's all I'm wondering. And how long is the process?
Well,
because I want to fix this sooner than later. My kids are getting older; they're going to have kids, and we have a proposed Islamic Party of Canada forming in Ontario.
Yep.
So for me, it's kind of pressing.
Well, and the thing is that I don't know how long it's going to take. Okay.
When does the documentary come out?
Well, we're in the process of raising the money to do it right now.
Let me know. Yeah. Where do I donate?
themythiscanada.ca, and there's a donate button on the upper right-hand corner.
I may send you a little cash. That sounds interesting. What you're doing there.
And Billy, if you want, you could even start including the link to the Myth is Canada in your videos. Get it out for your viewers to go research.
Yeah, and because I understand what he's saying, I get how they would have pulled it off, because I think that's been done all over the fucking place, wherever the Queen, or it may have been the Queen at one point, but it's bigger than that. It's the Rothschilds banking system. It's the Khazarian, in my opinion, the Khazarian Jews. Some people may take offense to that, but so be it. If people don't understand the difference between the Hebrews, the old stock Hebrew Jew, and the Khazarian Jew, they should go look that up. Khazarian, I believe, is spelled Khazarian.
Well, and the problem you have, without getting too deeply into it, there are no actually Semitic Jews today on planet Earth. What you call the Khazarians or the Ashkenazi make up 80%. The Shaphatics, which are Japhadite, make up 20%, and the small amount of Samaritans are Edomites. So
yeah,
and if you have an Ashkenaz, which is a Asiatic Hittite, a Japhadite, and an Edomite, where's the Semite? The Semites all died in 70 AD, the last of them. That was the end. The extermination event in 70 AD, it's in the, if you read the Bible, I guess, is the easiest place to find it. I can't remember the books now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to get...
People, you don't
but
have
you're
your
right.
off-camera guy with you tonight, do you?
No, I don't. He's not here tonight, and he can't tell me that it's the book of Revelations. You have to read the book of Revelations. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. On top of that, we can get in a lot of trouble just talking about this on Duke's show. Oh, no.
Trouble
not if you
is my
specify.
middle name.
It's if you only use the loose term, like, which is Jews, but if you use Khazarian, if you're more precise about it, you can get away with it.
Well, I like Ben Friedman. He was one of the founders of the American Zionist Society back in the early 1900s. He left the religion and he turned to Catholicism, and he calls them self-styleds or so-calleds. He doesn't use the term Jew. He calls them self-styleds or so-calleds.
So he left one group of so-calls to go to another group of so-calls.
Exactly.
I grew up Roman Catholic, so
did I.
I take it you're no longer practicing?
Oh Christ! At 18, you could have seen the contrail come off my.
See, I guess we probably took different paths. I'm still a believer. Just I consider myself non-denominational, and I have my own personal relationship.
I'm actually an ordained minister, ordained in 1983.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. There you go.
Well, that's because I don't really do a poll. I actually
Ladies
do
and
it because I
gentlemen,
was on.
this is why I love having the guests that I have on my show. I don't have to do anything. Watch these two men get to know each other and realize the common ground here. It's called Canada.
I guess it's the 666 in your name that threw me off. I was like, I would have never guessed.
Oh, I love that. Because
why?
I love that because the Christians got it backwards. It's actually 999. Mark of the Beast is 999, not 666.
Okay, well, we may have to have a discussion on that someday.
Anyways, it doesn't.
Was it lost in translation? Was the original Hebrew and Greek pointing more towards 999 than 666? Was it just a shitty translation in the King James?
Okay. Well, first of all, you're talking about the version of the Bible, actually not the actual Bible.
Well, the actual Bible would have been Hebrew and Greek, right?
No. Okay, Councils of Nicaea.
Aramaic.
Councils of Nicaea, 320 AD.
Right.
How many of the scrolls were written in Hebrew?
I'm not sure.
None. Zero. Not one. All Aramaic. Why? Because the Sanhedrin, which was where who nailed them to the cross, the Pharisees, they're the only ones that spoke Hebrew, and they spoke Hebrew for the Talmudic laws. They didn't have a Torah at that time. They only had the verbal Talmud. The Talmud was actually written 500 years later. It was put into a written format. But during Jesus's time, it wasn't a religion. They were Talmudic laws, and they spoke Hebrew in the Sanhedrin. They're the ones that nailed Jesus to the cross. Don't forget that. So why would they write any scriptures that went into the original Sinai Bible? The original Sinai Bible was written in Greek, translated from Aramaic. Why would the Romans write it in Greek? Because Greek is a precise language, whereas Latin is not. It's like English. You can have 2 or 3 meanings for the same word in Latin as you would in English, but in Greek, the word written is exact. It's precise.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the people that would have wrote their books. Wouldn't they have been Hebrews? Wouldn't they have been? They would have been Romans.
No.
Or they would have written in Greek.
In Judea at the time.
The language they were familiar with.
And that would have been the Greek language?
In Judea at the time, okay, the province of Judea in the country known as Palestine.
Right.
The country known as Palestine had a province called Judea. The Romans, okay, at that time had basically conquered Palestine and in doing so took over Judea. And the people that were the courts in Judea, the people that were collecting the taxes, were the Pharisees. And they spoke Hebrew. The rest of the population spoke Aramaic.
Aramaic. Oh, there you go.
And by the way, I was going to say for the King Jimmy version of the Bible, so if you take a King Jimmy version, you have to understand King Jim's background. He was a sociopath, psychopath, pedophile, homosexual. And he wanted a Bible to give him divine right of kings so that when he killed little boys that he was having sex with during his sexual exploitation of them, that the people wouldn't kill him.
Now, I had heard that about King James, and then when I went to research it, I thought that I had discovered that it was a different King James. It was a later King James.
Nope.
That was a pedophile, wasn't it?
Nope. That was the original.
So if you're an ordained minister, which Bible do you use?
I use the Geneva Bible.
Interesting.
1560.
I saw that I went to the Canadian Bible Institute, I would say 2010 would have been the year I went to the Canadian Bible Institute. And I held the King James, and I held the Geneva Bible, and I held a Tyndale version. Would you say those are more reliable?
I would say probably the most reliable would be the Geneva Bible, the original Geneva Bible only has the New Testament. It doesn't have an Old Testament because there was no Old Testament in the Sinai Bible either. It's the life of Jesus Christ, not the life of whomever. See, don't forget that under the King James Bible, Christianity became Judeo-Christianity. Before the King James Bible, it was just Christians. But there's no such thing as Judaism, because it would be the same as me saying to you, so you're from Ontario, what's your religion? Ontarioism. Oh, so if you're from Judea, your religion isn't Judaism, but that's where you're from, not what you practice. And in Judea during the time of Christ, there were, hundreds of different religious aspects. And the Pharisees weren't a religion. They were lawgivers or law takers. Anyway.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Doug, I have a question
we'll have to chat more.
I have a question here for Doug out of the chat room. If the country of Canada has a population that accepts Canadian law, by default, it has legitimacy, ? Except that what we have as Canadian law isn't law of the people. It's not common law. What we have now.
Yeah, and that gets back to what I was saying before we got off on the Bible.
Let Doug respond to this question.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The way they work with us here is that we have to consent to their jurisdiction. So every time the de facto government interacts with you, the first thing out of what they ask is, what's your name? And as soon as you respond that I'm Joe Smith, you're actually giving them consent, because that's not your name. It's the creation. If you look at your birth certificate, you look at your driver's license, you look at your passport, any government documents that you receive, any banking documents that you receive, it's all capitalized. They're talking about the person, not the man, not the woman, hence no common law, but they are a corporate entity, and they can only see other corporate entities, fictions. And the fictions that they create upon your live birth is that birth bond or birth certificate, what they call the certificate. It's actually a bond. It contains your life from birth to death. And they love to access it, but don't give you access to it. There's a gentleman called Rourke out of Houston, Texas, who teaches people about equity. and about demanding their right of subrogation. It's actually starting to take off here in Canada, and the judges and the prosecutors are really in a tizzy about it, because basically when you demand your right of subrogation, they either give it to you and then the bill is paid, the court fine, the court fee, the taxes, etc., or they dismiss the case. But either one or the other will happen. And I've been working with a group personally for almost a year now, where they've had successes with that. Quite a few actually in Western Canada, as far as British Columbia, Alberta, and now here in Ontario, they're bringing a couple of things into the courts within the next month or two here, and they should have success with it here. Because when you're working with the corporate entity, they can't see you as the man, but they always require your consent in order to beat the shit out of you. So they say, what's your name? You say, I'm John Smith. Wonderful, John Smith. We're going to beat the shit out of you now and empty your wallet and take all your money. Thank you. Don't let that door hit your ass too hard on the way out. So that's the law what you call the law we have here in Canada.
Okay, so you walk in the court and they ask you, what's your name? What do you respond? What would you respond?
I ask them if they want my true name or the fiction.
And then what would a judge usually respond to that?
Oh, well, they usually say true name. At which point you say, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, and God created man. God created man in his own image, and God gave man dominion over the earth, and all that creepeth upon its surface, flieth in its skies, and swimmeth in its ocean. You say then to the judge, do you understand, judge? Of course he understands. He just understood, and because you're talking to him in legalese, stand under my jurisdiction as a sovereign. That's all you just said to him. You just became the sovereign in the court. And I've seen that happen on a couple of occasions with smart people doing it with dumb judges. It doesn't work all the time, because some of the judges are intelligent. They look for stuff like that. They'll say, what do you mean? True name or fiction? What do you mean? They'll ask you the question.
And then what do you say?
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't done it.
Because I'd be willing to try that. I'm going to court shortly for like a ticket where I supposedly trespassed for walking 2 feet on the side of the road.
On whose land?
My neighbor's.
Okay, but does he have a lodial title?
Well, that's just
it's not a trespass.
The Highway Act says that the highway owns 33 feet from the center line.
No.
Can't go that route.
You can only criminally trespass on a lodial titled property, and there are no
lodial title. A lodial title.
That's when a man owns the property from the soles of his feet to the center of the earth, and from the top of his head to the outer reaches of the atmosphere, and it's usually defined by a land patent.
In other words, don't pay your taxes and find out who owns the land. It's not your neighbor's.
They don't own the land.
Billy.
They don't own the land. They're making claim that they own the land. But they don't have a lodial title either.
Yeah, they have privilege of ownership. You don't own
well, you
the
have
land
beneficial
your house
ownership.
is built on, Billy. You've got a piece of paper that says you do, but you don't. It's privilege of ownership.
It's crazy stuff, really.
You know,
let's
get off on this. Let's get down on this a little bit.
Who owns your home?
Duke, let's walk this line a little bit further. Okay. Do you know that most land in Southern Ontario is under land patent? And the problem is that people in Southern Ontario have just not perfected title or updated the land patent into their name. So the house that sits on your land could be
association. And we'll get into that, Doug, in another show, because that's a whole show on its own, and I will bring my friend Stephanos in here. A great portion of Southern Ontario has been granted right from before Canada was ever conceived. Direct ownership right to the people that lived on the land. And lots of property here, just in Niagara, is like that. There's no question as to who owns it.
Well, the last land patent issued in Canada was October of 1931. What does that tell you?
That nothing anyone's bought since then is really theirs.
No. If December of 1931, the Dominion of Canada became null and void, and Canada became 10 sovereign nations, the provinces all became sovereign nations, what royal could issue a land patent in Canada? None.
And when was the last one issued?
October 1931.
Oh, right before Westminster. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
2 months before.
Yeah, no, the ones I'm talking about here in Niagara, like for instance the Hipple farm in Vineland, their deed goes back to 1791.
I realize that, but what I'm saying is the reason that no other land patents were issued after December 1931 is because all of the provinces became sovereign nations without de jure government. So who could issue a land patent? The de facto can't issue the land patent.
I don't know what you
Only
mean.
the de jure.
I don't know what you mean by land patent, but like I've got a deed dating back to the early 1900s on the land that I'm on.
Yep.
What's mortgaged is the house.
Yep.
And even that's paid off. So
you could actually perfect title by updating the land patent on your property, and then what you need to do first though is the day that you take the land patent updated to its proper date. Let's pick a date, July the 1st of 2019. You'll have to pay the taxes up till June 30th, because on July the 1st you now have a allodial title. After that, they can't tax you because they can't tax the sovereign. It's like taxing a king. Now you can enter into contractual obligation for them to deliver water and take sewage away, take garbage away, clear your road in the wintertime, all of that under private contract.
Interesting.
Yeah. That way you're not paying taxes and that they're spending any way they want by that new portion. Pay the teachers. If you don't have kids in the school, why are you paying tax?
To support Afghanistan veterans.
See, now, would that work where I go negotiate directly with the municipality, let's say, or would I negotiate directly with the independent contractor that picks up the garbage?
Well, yes, you would do. If it's an independent contractor, then you would go to the independent contractor for garbage.
Like the independent contractor is subcontracted out to the municipality.
Okay, well then the municipality would be the people you would deal with.
Okay.
Or you simply take your garbage to the local dump.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just it, though. The municipality runs that, so I'm not sure if they'd allow you to do it.
They charge you a fee to go
They just
there.
charge you a tip.
True enough, yeah. That's true.
Right?
So instead of paying $2,000 a year for garbage collection, you're going to pay a tipping fee of $10 a month or $120 a year to get rid of your garbage.
Yeah.
Which would you rather do? People don't understand, and it's a lot for people to grasp. And I'm just wondering, because I agree with you, it's got to be out there. Would you be willing, if Maxime Bernier or someone within his team was willing to sit down and talk to you, would you be willing to sit down and talk to these people?
Sure.
Billy, you and I could put this together.
I'll do it on camera too.
People, I will bring Doug, and we'll sit down. I'll make this happen. We'll put this together, brother.
I'm going to talk to Clinton DeVoe. I want to see what he thinks about it. I'll talk to a few people about it just to see, because he's busy. Of course, he's in full campaign mode. I'm wondering if would be the time to do it, or see if he actually pulls something off and ends up in a position where he can influence something and talk to him. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to talk to him now. I'll see what I can do. I make no promises, but I'll see what I can do about it.
There's a story I told on Duke's show last night about a gentleman by the name of Walter Cool. He was a backbencher from Alberta in the 1930s and through to the 1940s in the federal government. And in 1976, when René Lévesque was looking to do this big separation from Quebec, and the Parti Québécois was in its big heyday, he wrote Mr. Lévesque a wonderful letter telling Mr. Lévesque that you can't have a divorce without first having a marriage. Canada has never confederated, and hence Quebec is a sovereign nation. All you need to do is hold a constitutional convention and seat a de jure government. Lévesque took the letter to Ottawa and gave it to his friend Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Trudeau read it, and so Lévesque's standing there going, "Well, is it true?" And Trudeau says, "Yes, of course it's true." Here's 2 big suitcases full of money. Now shut the fuck up and get back to Quebec.
Billy, I have a copy of that letter from Doug in PDF, and I will send it to you in the morning.
Send me anything you've got.
Go to the website. I've got it all on the website.
It's all there?
Yeah.
The mythuscanada.com.
NephilimFilms.com.
No, mythuscanada.com.
Oh, the Myth is
We have a separate website. We have a separate website, mythuscanada.ca, mythuscanada.com. We have the timeline, all the documentations, the Walter Cool letter, et cetera, et cetera. And so, the politicians, they're not read into this information.
Because, like, for example, interprovincial trade, that's something that Bernier says is in the Constitution. I firmly believe, and I believe, and even like right now, you're explaining it to me, it makes sense to me. It's still hard to believe, though. Like, if that makes any sense, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
It is. It's because it's like a Duke. Can I curse?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, brother. My audience has a thick skin. Come on, they're my audience, for fuck's sake.
I know. It's a mind fuck, is what it is. It's like you're being raped mentally, and it's a lot to absorb, right? And a lot of people in a situation like this, I think a lot of people would turn away from it because it'd be just too much to handle. They'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I guess that's where it's like. So when you get back to it, it's. Like I think it's great, and you're right. I think the movie could reach a lot of people and inform a lot of people and wake up a lot of people and maybe mobilize a lot of people. But will it mobilize enough that those people can actually do something about it and end up being the du jour government rather than the de facto government that we have now? Because right now our military answers to the de facto government. Right now our lawyers answer to the de facto government. The judges.
We don't have lawyers in Canada. We only have attorneys.
But you know what I mean, though, right?
No, I do understand what you mean.
Attorneys at law.
I was attorneys at color of law, by the way. I was approached in the 1980s when I was a bit of a younger fella by the Liberal Party in British Columbia, and they asked me if I wanted to run for premier. And being a successful businessman, I decided that if you weren't a successful businessman, you go into politics, because only failed businessmen get into politics. Or failed lawyers. But I declined. Actually, I didn't decline because of that. I just didn't like the Liberals. But I was where most people were back then, and until right into the early 1990s, I didn't know any better. I figured Canada was Canada, and that was that, and provinces were provinces, and everything going on was legal and lawful. And, I figured out that back then, income tax was voluntary. So that's the one thing I did do. I stopped volunteering paying it. And they agreed. They sent me a letter saying, yeah, okay, no problem. We'll take you off of as a taxpayer.
You got a copy? You got a copy of the letter you sent them?
No, I actually went back then. It was about 1987, 87 or 88, somewhere in there. There's a Surrey Taxation Center, and it was called Tax Canada. And I had to go in front of a panel. And of course, this is before smartphones and the internet and everything else. And so I was being. They wanted to know why I wasn't filing taxes. So, and I thought, oh crap, I'm in a lot of trouble. So I, went down to my lawyers and I asked them if I could get into their law library, and I did a record search, and I brought up the law, the only income tax law in Canada at that time that I could find was from 1917. And so I printed it off, and I had certified copies. I made 3 certified copies and kept one for myself. And I highlighted the area where it said it was voluntary, and I went to this 3-panel kind of judge meeting thing at TaxCan to explain why I wasn't filing. And I handed the documentation to them. They read it. They looked up at me, and I said, it's voluntary. They said, well, we can't argue with that. And I said, can you put it in a letter and send it to me? And about 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail saying I was no longer considered a taxpayer in Canada, and I no longer volunteered. The letter's long gone. I mean, this is back in And I have been all over the world since, so I have no idea where it went.
You know what? Now that you say that, I'm pretty sure after I saw your video, I think I may have gone to look that up, and it actually says that on their website.
On our website?
No, on the if you do a search in Revenue for Revenue Canada and you go look for it, it's there. Mm-hmm. It's voluntary. The income tax return that people file every year.
That, Billy, the law hasn't changed. It's still voluntary.
Right, but nobody goes to read the law.
No.
But does that, like, I thought that only applied to the filing that people do every year.
No.
But I thought that if you worked for an employer throughout the year, that you still had to get income tax taken off.
Nope. You're not even required to have a social insurance number. But let me finish the story.
Okay, sorry.
So about 1995, 1996, I was doing some research on something else, and I came across the Income Tax Act, the one that I had found in the law library at my attorney's, and I found that it was repealed in 1939. And so the funny thing was, well, of course, in '88 we didn't have the internet, we didn't have all of this other great, easy to look up on your smartphone. Oh, okay, let's just. So, but not by 96, 95, 96, we did have the internet, and I was in a law library, and I thought I would just. So I went to look what replaced it. What replaced the Income Tax Act of 1917 that was repealed in 1939? Guess what replaced it? Nothing. There is no Income Tax Act here in Canada.
Nothing at all?
They couldn't get it passed. They tried to do it in 1947, and it went to first reading on the House, and it died on the floor. Never went any further than that. But that's the act that the 1985 Income Tax Act refers to. The Act of 1947 that never passed. How's that for funny?
Wait a minute. Back this train up a little bit. They repealed one law before they passed a replacement law?
Correct.
That's unusual.
Well, you got to understand something, that by 1939, the Income Tax Act that was created in 1917 was to repay the war debts.
Right.
And the First World War debts were long paid off by 1939, and nobody filed income tax. So it was sitting dead on the books. So instead of just leaving it there, they repealed it. They got rid of it because nobody was using it.
Okay.
And there was no income tax. So basically, if you did fall under the 1917 Act, you only paid 3% and only over $1,000 of earnings at that time. And so,
at that time, $1,000 of earnings was a lot of money.
Correct, and that's why you had to make over $1,000 to pay the 3%, and only if you volunteered to do it. But the opening of that act in 1917, it says this is a voluntary act.
So, and they repealed that. They never brought in legislation to replace it, but the legislation that they've brought in recently refers back to legislation that never existed.
Correct. Yeah, Mackenzie King's government in 1947, after the Second World War, decided that because Canada was also in debt again, that they would do another Income Tax Act, except instead of making it voluntary, they tried to pass it without it being voluntary, and then it never passed. Now, if they would have made it a voluntary act, it probably would have passed, but it didn't. It didn't include voluntary in that act, so it died after first reading.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that basically means our current income tax legislation or laws are null and void.
Yeah. Try and argue that in court.
Yeah, well,
they say it's settled. Kind of like the science of climate change. It's settled.
Well, guess what, gentlemen? I just got a message in the Facebook chat room from Carl Edward Fluery, which means the Truckers Convoy has probably come to a stop for the night, and he's hooked up to Wi-Fi somewhere.
Oh, nice.
I can reach out to him. Doug, I don't know what your schedule's like. I don't know if you're interested in hearing about the Truckers Convoy to stick around and stay with us, or if you want to head on. And
I'd be delighted. I did a 2-hour thing with Carl about a week ago.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
Well, why don't I give? He's Carl. I'm assuming I'm reading you here in the chat room, Carl. I'm assuming you want to come in by Facebook or Skype. I can add you on Skype along with Doug and Billy, or we can bring you in via Facebook. Just let me know in the Facebook chat room here, Carl, and I'll bring you in.
Billy, it's really nice to meet you, by the way. Thank
you. You too, Doug.
Oh.
No, we're just bantering amongst ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. My shows are very, very informal. You both know that. I think Doug picked up on that last night.
I'm gonna step out of camera range here and go to the little boys' room. Excuse me.
All right, we'll be here when you get back.
Yeah.
Carl says on Facebook, so I've got another Facebook page open here.
Oh, Doug must have a nice camera. You see how his camera focused into that chair? Man, that chair looks nice. You think he'd use that for a commercial? Look at it.
Carl, if you message me on Facebook, I will open it up and bring you in that way, buddy. I would have to go searching for you in my Facebook chat list to find your name in here. So I've got Facebook open, Carl, if you want to message me, and then I'll bring you in that way, buddy. So, Billy, what do you think of Doug Force?
He's very
I can still hear you.
I know you can
very
still
interesting.
hear us.
Yeah, and if I didn't like you, I'd tell you. No, it's great information. It is. It's really great information. It's just information that a lot of people won't be able to handle. Like I say, even people like myself who've heard, nothing surprises me. And it's kind of, you sit there and you go, holy fuck.
Yeah,
if they can lie to us about that.
It helps connect some of the dots, eh?
Well, and the other side of this is, how do you eat an elephant? You eat him one bite at a time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So don't try to, everybody, if you try to take it all in too much at one time, then your head's going to explode. By the way, if you're interested, and I can get you, there's a gentleman by the name of Russell Rogers Smith, and he wrote a book called Ho Canada. Now, the reason I mention him is because he's the gentleman that worked with Mackenzie King on the Statute of Westminster, and he wrote the 3 clauses that went into the Statute of Westminster that applied to Canada. And Mackenzie King took those to the UK Parliament, and the Parliament took them verbatim. In other words, they didn't change a word and inserted them into the Statute of Westminster. And that's why Canada ceased to become a dominion. And he wrote a book in 1965 called Ho Canada. And if you'd like, I think I sent Duke, did I send you a copy?
Yes.
Would you mind forwarding a copy on to Bill?
I will send him the 3 PDFs that you sent me, which will include Ho Canada,
that
the
will make
Walter
your head
Cool
explode.
letter, and all the rest of them. Okay, I'm just working on getting Carl Fluery in here, so just give me a second, folks.
You're going to make a history buff out of me. Fuck.
Come on, get me in so I can go drink my beer.
I hated history in school. It's like, oh no, I got to go study history. But that's what happens, though. I find if you don't know your history, you fucking get lost.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved history, by the way. I loved English, literature, history, and my favorite subject in high school was chemistry. I love figuring shit out.
Oh, that's interesting because chemistry was one of my favorite subjects, and the one thing that stands out from high school, we had to rearrange the periodic table after we had changed. I believe it was the atomic numbers.
Yeah.
We had to rearrange, and he had given us a week to do it. And I was the only one that actually finished the project. I scored I believe it was a 97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he was pretty impressed with it. But that's the one thing that stands out from high school was that one, because I was the guy that got home and fucking threw my school bag in the corner and picked it up the next morning. But when it came to chemistry class, for some reason, chemistry, physics, math, I enjoyed those classes.
Oh, I'm good, buddy. I'm gonna stand up and get this fucking.
There we go,
Yeah,
Carl. I think you're in here now.
Oh, how you doing?
I think we've got everybody in here. Can everybody hear Carl? Can you guys hear Carl through the computer?
I'm not seeing him yet.
I got some pretty good news.
Doug, you and Billy might get a little bit of a delay because he's coming in through Facebook, so it's not going to tie into your headphones or your audio as quick. There'll be a little bit of lag.
Well, I'm not listening to Facebook.
Yeah, if all you're listening to is Skype, you won't hear Carl because the only place you're going to hear him is through the actual live feed going out. So the two of you, because he's on Facebook instead of Skype, it's a separate audio feed into the video.
Yeah, we're gonna have to let you do that with Carl because the delays. The delays going to be too big.
Good news. Tell you that.
The conversation won't make sense.
Yeah, Carl, is there any chance you could use Skype and come in with Skype?
No, because I'm on my phone and dude.
Oh, okay.
I can't. I'd rather go listen to what's going on with that yellow vest rather, to be honest. If that's okay with you, Doug.
You guys incredibly happy. You won't believe what you're
let's go.
Tonight. So you
I want to hear what's going on with that because I've been so busy with other stuff.
That's fine with me, guys. Stay on Skype. Just
I'm muting
microphones or something so we don't get feedback.
That's right.
And I'll bring Carl over, and the people can watch me and Carl, and you guys just hang in the background and listen to what he's got to say.
Yeah, it's worth it. Trust me.
All right, so give me a second here, and I will copy that.
And I'm gonna have to mute you too, Duke, because otherwise I'm gonna have an echo. I'll be hearing you in my earphones here.
Yeah, you guys will have to mute the Skype sound and just listen to it through the online either Facebook or YouTube feeds, like you were just watching it. Otherwise, you're going to get a time delay and feedback and that sort of thing. So I apologize, but...
Yes, I'm only going to talk and then I'm going to go away. But I think you'll be happy with what I'm going to be saying. So this is something you've never heard before. So it's going to be fun, okay? A lot of fun. It's going to make you happy.
All right. Let's see how this works. There we go. There's Carl and I, and Billy and Doug can just quietly disconnect from their end and go watch the show through YouTube or Facebook and listen to what Carl's got to say. Brother, what's happening with these trucks? Fireworks in Sault Ste. Marie?
Well, what happened in Sault Ste. Marie was unreal. Actually,
Speak up a little bit for us, but I'm getting a good signal, but it's not very loud. If you can talk a bit louder or maybe get closer.
Well, I'm pretty close. You want me to do a little bit of yelling tonight? I'm going to do it for you. Are you guys ready? I'm going to tell you about the convoy, okay? Well, the first thing is we won as soon as it got on the road because you know how difficult that is to do because of all, the enemy. So it grew as soon as it took off, and we have a network of information pushing this stuff all over. As soon as we got to Ontario, every single town and village, had a reception for us. Like there was Canadian flags all along the highways. People did all kinds of setup. We stopped in Wawa. We had a huge reception there, and people wanted us to stop everywhere. It was incredibly amazing. People have been following this convoy. So once we got to Sault Ste. Marie, even all the way there was people on the side of the highway. We've had like fireworks as soon as we got in there, as soon as we got in town. It's unreal, man. You have to see some of these feeds. It's incredible. We never thought this would get this big. Once we got to Sault Ste. Marie, they had a huge barbecue and firework and about over 1,000 people waiting for us over there. It was like incredible, man. This was felt better than Canada Day. I'm telling you, this felt like Canada today. And it's just unreal what happened. So we got we've got pretty well everybody on the same page all across the country right now. This thing is growing. We have the Philippines, France, and the U.S. talking about us all over. So way more than our mainstream media. So we pretty well shut down the mainstream media here. They completely run out of negative narratives. So we pretty well got this thing now for our Canadians. This convoy, of course, was built for Canadians. We're simply doing like a duty as Canadians, and we just want to get people on a positive note. Our entire country has been under a big dark cloud of freaking depression, and we wanted to show, Canadians that you start uniting by doing very, very small things and just get your voice back and get the power back. And she's pretty well on her way, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. Ottawa's going to be unreal. I've organized a little True Media conference tomorrow night in Empire, so it's going to be fun. So they're basically stuck to protecting us now because we're like a national treasure. We're the national treasure of.
There's
of
too many eyes watching what's going on for them to let this get screwed up.
That's right, man. I'm going to tell you that a lot of this stuff was done with some pretty good organization from many people, and also from many people who have been on the booths and around for the last few years, who do have some experience and learn the card games. So so now we can actually play cards with them. Because, when you play cards with somebody, if you know the game, you're going to get your ass kicked every time. But once you learn the game, you can make some changes and you can kick some ass too. So that's what we've done. And one of the main things that had to be done was to, bypass their main power, which is the mainstream media. And we've done that with a very, very simple and with a good old school common sense. So we totally got them easy. And that's what did it. And after that, well, once it's unlocked, it's gone. And now she's gone. They can't hide anything, man. So there we go. And Canadians, it's unreal.
Okay, so Carl, you're heading into Arnprior. Now, I know where Arnprior is. For those of you who want to look on a map, it's on Highway 17 northeast of Ottawa. You're heading into Arnprior. You're holding a press conference there. So
yeah, a press conference of our own. So I bring my own people that I want. And the left of the media, of course they can come, and but they get destroyed now every time they get interviews, because we know how to deal with them. We've already done quite a few, and all of some of the peoples we got here, it's really not good for them when we do an interview. So
that was going to be my next question. Are any of the mainstream media scheduled to meet with you in Arnprior? Can my viewers tune in to CTV and see you on national CTV television, or are they going to see propaganda bullshit?
Well, who knows what they're going to have, but you can always tune in with Fake Goldie, because I got Fail Goldies coming, we got the Rebel Media coming, and I got some others going. Anybody that's a True Media, Lise Tui, anybody, this is your time, because this time our True Media will shine. I organized this for all the True Medias, so I don't really care what they say, because our people want our True Medias, and that's how she's going to go. So I did report for Freebird Media Toronto, not because I want to be a stinking reporter, but because the job had to get done, because I wanted to bring information to the people, real reliable information. And I told people, I'm not there to for you to look at me so I could look good in a suit or tell you what what you want to hear. I'm here to show you the real thing, so don't worry about it. If you don't like what you see, then you can always turn on your TV and look to CBC. But if you want to see the real thing, then tune in with me and I'll take you there. That's what I've done. This is going to be possibly my only experience as a reporter, because I did not want to be a reporter. I only took this job because it had to get done. When there's a job to be done, I just jump on there and do it to the best of my ability. So in order to get the job done, right? So
you've done a great job, brother.
Thanks, man. I'm just doing my best, and I'm doing it in French too, because I wanted to have everyone aboard. Because right now we want Quebec in. I've been working with Quebec for quite a while, because I want to destroy the stupid division of a separatist that's been created like many, many years ago. This illusion that like there was a war between the English and the French, which they used to keep Quebec in a corner so they can rule their ass. And that's why Quebec is the only place in the world that files two income tax, the provincial and the federal. So that shows you, how badly they got hit. And I know place to live there. So, when I left, and I was 18 years old, of course, I was a separatist because I was brainwashed. And then I moved to Alberta, and I realized, man, I've been at a whole pile of crap, man, all this time, And Quebec, I mean, they don't go around in Canada. You know where they go? When they go on holidays, they go to the States. They go to Miami, because, I mean, it's right.
Yeah, they go to Cape May, New Jersey. I've been
so
in Cape May.
They don't have a clue. Yeah, they don't have a clue what's going on in Canada. And plus, think about it. Do you know how expensive it is to travel within Canada? I'm in Alberta. I want to go to Quebec to see my family. It costs me $1,200 fucking bucks to go there and come back. But I can go to the States for a couple of hundred, Yeah. And so very expensive to travel, within Canada. I think it's done in purpose.
Everything's expensive in Canada, and that is done on purpose for sure.
I think that, they don't want you to go too much in the next province because you might unite with people. They rather, keep you aside and, throw a couple of agendas and make you fight between provinces. Everything is divided in little bits and pieces,
So Carl, realistic number. How many trucks are in this convoy?
I'm not sure now. We got a few hundred, and I believe that now they're starting to come even more. We got another 60 that's taken up from Newfoundland, and we got a whole bunch. Because as it grows, it keeps growing, and now the word is going, and all these fucking trucks are coming from all over the place. Like,
wow.
This is a fucking historical event, man. You'll never see this shit again. This is the Canadian way. This is what Canadians do. There's nobody else than Canadians that could pull off stuff like that.
I can tell you, never in my lifetime have I seen this many Canadians this motivated. Yeah, we get them out for a hockey game, but this is more than a hockey game.
No, man. This is Canada, and this is serious. This was the do or die. I mean, everybody that was on this convoy, they're willing to go through anything to get this done. We left, with denial. We had to fight to get this thing going. And, I mean, there's no way we're going to stop, man. We've gone through all kinds of major stuff.
And what's the plan when you get to Ottawa? What's the plan when they get to
Ottawa? We're going to be speaking, okay? And we don't want to give too much to the politicians. Because the reason is, why do all this event so that people can have a voice, so you can go there and hand it to another one of these guys again that's in this system, so they're just going to hijack the thing. It's not going to work this way. We have this thing, and I promise you some pretty incredible speeches there. I will be speaking a few words, and I will be talking about a little information system that I'm creating for all Canadians. And we're here for Canada, man. We're not messing around. We're going to take this country and make it Canada again, and we're going to use the entire country to do it. So this is for all Canadians, man. This is their convoy. They own this convoy. All we are is a bunch of shit disturbers and instigators. We just wanted to get them going, put them on a positive note, and show them that when you unite, and don't fall into division agenda, what you can accomplish, just a few of you. So imagine when the whole country gets onto it. So that's your duty as a Canadian citizen.
It's an amazing feeling, isn't it?
That's the duty. Fuck, man. I did come really close to cry today because I'm pretty tough. I'm pretty fucking ball. Because once we get the big win at Ottawa, I'm gonna fucking ball for sure. Because as well as I do, us, the activists, how many shit kicking we've been taking in the last 3-4 years. I've been all over the country. I've created rallies. I've been to rallies, and I've tried all kinds of stuff. But I mean, we got our ass kicked. Why? Because we didn't know how to play this stupid game. But while we played this game, we got to learn the game, and one of the most important thing that you get at rallies, other than standing there with a sign, you get to connect, and this is where the power comes from.
It's an amazing feeling when it happens, isn't it?
We've been disconnected. Now we need to reconnect. So we started this thing with a bunch of connections that we gathered from this war that we've been getting beat up. So I knew we were going to win this one as soon as we're taken off, because we've done all kinds of stuff in order to make it the way it is. And it's a combination of many skills and many people across this country. Some of these people who started this rally are not very experienced in some of the stuff that we're doing. So, of course, they got their skills, amazing truckers and everything, and they've got their connections. And ourselves, we got our connections. like you built a house. When you built a house, you need a plumber, a drywaller, the painter and all this. That's what we did. We combined all skills, worked together as Canadians, and we got the fucking job done. So that's how we do it in Canada. And I mean, and now we bypassed the big enemy, and we got him now. So now we can go to Ottawa. We don't even have to say a freaking word. We can just stand there, for 10 minutes without saying a word, and you're gonna feel the freaking power right there. And what I said before, that it's not gonna solve any government issues, but what it's gonna do, it's gonna open the power right there. And I said it from the beginning. As soon as this power is exposed, it's gonna double and triple right away, because that's the power that everybody wants, the power of the people. So all we did is unlock the freaking thing.
So, Carl, we've had a couple of questions in the Facebook chat room
about
Antifa. Any problems with Antifa on the route?
No, man, we got no problems with Antifa. I mean, they can come if they want. We work for them too. We actually converted a couple. So because they were like, especially some of the First Nations, we're under the impression that we're because they try to portray us as, as racist and all this stuff. That shit don't work anymore, man. The people don't even believe this. And we've said it, like, this is not a yellow vest, rally. This is a Canadian freaking rally for every single Canadian. If you wear a yellow vest, a pink vest, a blue vest, you come naked, come as you are. You're Canadian. I mean, there's all kinds of, and people use groups in order to, to assemble. And I support all of these guys. Every freaking groups that are out there, as long as they're doing good things for Canada. The problem we had in the last few years, we had all these groups fighting among each other, for some kind of competition. In the meanwhile, the freaking enemies coming in united to death, and they're taking over. So, like, you know what I mean? Yep. There's nobody who can save the people other than the people themselves.
Exactly.
Yes. This is all I look at it, and and it's easy. They have all the freaking power. All you got to do is reconnect them. And that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Well, that's brother, you're doing a great job of it. And you got support from Canadians right across this country. Trust me, I see it every minute of the day.
Yeah, I'm doing my share, but I couldn't do this shit without you and without all the teams that we got here and every single Canadians that have been watching us and passing information. We have put all Canadians to work. They all doing their little share in order to do this. And this is why we're accomplishing this thing, because we couldn't do this shit by ourselves.
No.
So we showed Canadians that, let's be united and let's get away from this cloud of depression that they have created. This government has created this anti-social world, led by fear and everything. But once we all stand together, like, we are the actual freaking power. So, and that's it. That's all we need to do. Done. And trust me, everywhere we've been, they understand exactly what we're doing. This is the power they've been waiting for. Their own power. We just thought somebody had to get that fire started, and that's all we did.
Well, you've done a great job of getting it started, and I'm telling you, brother, Billy and I talked about this earlier tonight. He said he can't believe how the enthusiasm in this country is growing, and I told him, I said, that's because we started a little snowball, and it's turning into a Canadian avalanche.
Yeah, buddy. I've explained, for 2 years, I've explained people about this power thing, and everybody thought I was talking. Okay, I told them your rallies are locked circle. They don't go anywhere. Why do you keep doing the same fucking rallies every time? And everybody's been doing it. I told them you have no information system. I talk about the last rally in Ottawa when Dan, did it. One of the most clever things that nobody did. He called a rally 7 months ahead. Smart, but everybody just kept on sharing their fucking information and let this shit out on Facebook. That's why you only had about 300 people. But I mean, and I've talked about that, and nobody listened. I did some shit on my own on this one here, and it's easy. All you got to do is think outside the box. Why if you sit on your ass and keep passing information on Facebook, you ain't going too far. Is that rally in Ottawa last year? There's probably 200,000-300,000 people that would have loved to know about it. And I told people, they don't even know you fucking exist. They're not going to come and see you get that information. You are the one who have to figure out how you're going to inform them. And that's when you're going to get your numbers. Because everything else is luck right up. They're fucking laughing at us, man.
Yeah, they got
I
they
don't
got
like
us
being
under their
fucking
thumb
laughed at. I don't like to
electronically.
lose.
As long as we depend on social media, we're not going to get anywhere because they control the
right.
social media.
Yeah. You know,
It's like
did
I said a
something-
year ago when Facebook locked me in Facebook jail for 3 months straight. I don't need the Zuckerstapo to get the word out there.
Oh, man,
I
I
got
don't
2
need-
feet and a heartbeat and a great big fucking sign and a sidewalk. That's all I need.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, you want to tell me how I helped into this information thing? I'm going to show you the most stupid fucking thing you ever seen. Okay. First of all, we had a yellow vest poster, okay? First of all, I took one of the existing poster and I redesigned it. And I got rid of the yellow vest, which pissed off a few people, but I don't give a shit because I knew the media was using against it, you know? Because this was not a yellow vest poster rally to begin with. Then I changed the information on it, modified it, and I made it acceptable for everyone. Because you know that many companies wouldn't even wouldn't join this because of the yellow vest, because they already trashed the shit out of it on the news. So I knew all that. So basically, what I did is I decided to pass those posters. I paid with my own money, and I'm broke as shit, and I fucking printed shitload of posters, and I did some yellow vest meetings, but because I wanted them to pass some posters around, and fuck it, I didn't get nobody showed up. So I grabbed one of my partner, girl, and I says, we're getting in the fucking truck, we're gonna do the whole city today, and we did it in 8 hours. Bang, bang, bang. It was minus fucking 30. We went to every big trucking companies and every oil patch company because I know that they're all connected with thousands. And then, and every stinking one of them put the big poster in the front door. This is the easiest poster you could ever get. I walk into the place and I say, hey, have you heard of the Ottawa Convoy, right? And they say, well, I thought it was canceled. I said, well, I knew you'd say that because the mainstream media has been saying this, but it's not true. And I told them this is bigger than you think. And then I told them there's 3 ways you can help. You can show up, you can donate to the GoFundMe, or you can pass information. If you're a Canadian, you want some changes, you can do one of those 3 things. I got 100% results, okay? And I did that in 8 hours in a 30,000 fucking people town with one girl. When I showed this to everybody online, I said, there you go. You guys want the PDF? I'll give you the PDF. Doesn't matter where you are in Canada. I'll send you the PDF. You print a few and you go. Boots on the ground. I fucking sent over 1,000 fucking PDF, man. And I had people passing this fucking poster all across the country, talking to people.
Good.
Get
That's
it?
how it gets done, brother.
There we go, man. Because, if I'm not going to hit myself on the head with a hammer 6,000 fucking times. After I did it twice, I learned it doesn't work.
It hurts.
Yeah, and I was talking to people, to all these groups prior to do things like that before. Nobody would ever listen to me. But I made a mistake because I was trying to get some people to get in it with me when all I had to do was just get it started myself, which I did. So this is one of the system, and I've got some other one. Because once you bypass their most powerful weapon, which is the mainstream media, I got them, man. So right now, we are the most precious thing in Canada. We're a natural treasure. They can touch us. The whole country is protecting us. They're protecting their power. We didn't think it was going to, I knew it was going to work, but I didn't think it was going to get that fucking big that quick. That shows you how much Canada has fucking had enough. Yeah. That shows you to see all these people on the side of the road with fucking flags, man, they want to cry.
That's exactly what I was going to point out was this isn't Canadians responding to Alberta's oil industry issue or crisis. This is Canadians right across the country saying we've all had enough of all of it, everything.
Yeah. And now let me explain to you something else. Like this fucking convoy, okay, everybody saying the media is trying to use it against oil. But it's not against oil. It just got the Albertan going. Because they deleted this convoy, because they got fucking crashed, okay? Like everybody's losing their house. Nobody's got no more fucking work, okay? We're losing everything, like everybody else everywhere. So it just happened that Alberta led this one. But we're uniting all provinces because every fucking province has got issues. So we want all provinces to show up, bring their issues around. Alberta's got, there's many issues that we all have in common, So we want everyone to come, and I'm bringing Quebec. Quebec's coming down. I've been doing all my life in French and English because I want to get everybody aboard. And it's time to break this division that's been going on with Quebec, because they've been brainwashed to the nine with this, with this fictional English and French war that doesn't exist, and this separatist shit that they brainwashed them into so they can rule the shit out of them. You know, like we're going to break those division agenda and not fall into division agenda anymore. This convoy, I tell every little kids every time I go there, I ask the kids if they like the convoy. I tell them, this is your convoy. This convoy is for all the little kids in Canada. That's what this fucking convoy is for the future of our children. So let's fucking get on there and get the job done, man. Because now it's going and can't stop it. They can't stop what's going to happen in this country, you know? So
they have uncorked a bottle that will never be corked again.
You know what, buddy? Today I did an interview with Rebel Media, and I said, I want to thank Justin Trudeau for pissing off so much the Canadians that they're going to be united like they've never been united before. I said, now that you've done that, I just go. And thank you very much, Justin. Because Justin has opened the can of worm, and like I said, Canada is going to be united like it's ever been because of him. So he did one good thing.
He didn't intend to do it, but
no, I know he kind of fucked up.
He's pissed off enough Canadians that we're not going to stop. He started a snowball rolling, and it's going to turn into a Canada-wide avalanche.
It's done now. It cannot be stopped, man. And you cannot stop the information. I mean, you know, Facebook and the medias, I mean, they turn completely toast, man. We got them, okay? We got them. We are the power. We can kick the shit out of them with nothing but love. We don't even have to fight. You know? Now we call shots. We're not going to go there and get hijacked by a politician. That's what I was upset because some of these politicians that speak, it's probably not going to be good for them because, first of all, you know, they're going to say the same thing and they're going to try to hijack the event. I know what they do all the time. So this is about people speaking this time, okay? And now we got the whole country behind us. We want people to speak. You got some issues? No, you don't have to be scared about talking about it. Nobody's going to be, you know, people are scared to speak now. People are staying home, you know. We don't want fucking people to be scared in Canada. I want them to be happy. We want them to have free speech, to be able to agree to disagree. And the reason why, of course, they're fighting a lot more now is because, man, they've been screwed so bad that everybody's miserable in this country.
Carl, you got any message? It's getting late here, buddy. It's gone 11. I'm going to wrap things up. When I come back with Billy, I'm going to say goodnight to him. So before I send you off, you got any messages for our francophones that are listening?
Ah, pour tous mes amis français, venez-vous-en, vous écrire pas, ça c'est fait pour vous autres aussi. So, venez-vous-en. I'm gonna do some live in French, because I got like a huge bunch of French people, which I pissed off a couple of weeks ago, because I told him the truth. You know, he didn't like it, but I says, you know, I says, screw your fucking honor, because it's not gonna save your ass. You gotta unite with Canada. Canadians, Anglophone, want to help you to save Quebec and bring Quebec back, because you can't do it on your own. So let's unite as human beings. You know, it doesn't matter what color you are, what height you are, because I'm short, and, you know, what religion you are, it doesn't matter. If you're Canadian and you're a good person and you want to live under Canadian values, I mean, this is what it's all about. Let's unite and let's get this shit done. That's all I got to say. And I love you guys all, and I thank everybody, man, across this country. Like, it's overwhelming what's been doing. Like, I'm telling you that doing your duty as a Canadian is really one of the best things you could ever do. We experienced it every day now. It's unreal. So thanks, everyone. And let's get on it, and let's keep going.
Carl, thank you for coming on, brother.
My pleasure, man. I'm going to have my cigarette. I've been trying to smoke for, like, it's been a busy day.
You've had a long couple of days, and you got a couple more days ahead of you yet.
Yeah,
brother, be safe. Stuff, stay in touch. I know it's going to be the middle of the week, but I wish I could get up there with you, but I know you got things under control. Thank you for spending an evening with us. I know it's been a long day for you. Go get some rest.
You betcha. I'm going to get a little bit of time for me. All right, you guys take care, man. And, you know, forget about the negatives now. Let's quit talking about all these stupid issues that are kicking our ass. Let's concentrate on the positive, build the power, and then we'll start dealing with all these issues one at a time. All right? All together. Good night, you guys.
Good night, Carl. Thanks, buddy.
See you guys. Love you, man.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Carl Edward Fluery.
Long name, Carl Edward Fluery.
And Billy, you're back in here with us. Are you still there, brother?
Oh, and I come back and have this beer with you. Oh, and then when I do this beer, and I gotta don't.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Carl Edward Fluery. Now we're picking up the audio through Billy, and I think Doug is still in there somewhere too.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of here. Let me go, dude. Let me go.
Oh,
and I come back and have this beer with you. Oh, and then when I do this beer, I gotta don't.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're picking up the audio through Billy, and I think Doug is still in there somewhere too.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of here. Let me go.
Is that ever sounded weird? I don't know how we're getting that back in there.
Okay.
Somebody's microphone is picking up something. Is that ever sounded weird?
Who am I hearing?
I don't know how we're getting that back in there. Somebody has the speakers on their computer turned up still. Somebody's microphone is picking up. There, that just silenced.
I think that was me.
There we go. Whatever it was, it's silenced now. The problem is solved.
Yeah, I hear Doug, but I don't see him.
Yeah, I can't seem. My camera's on, but it's not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming on.
Oh, right. Yeah, I got lens cap on it. I couldn't figure out how to turn it in.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the man we are trusting the future
that
of
was great having
construction
Carl.
to
Carl
can't
just
remember to
dropped
take
that.
the lens
I'm
cap
thinking of
off his
fucking heading
camera.
Ottawa.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Fly into Ottawa and rent a vehicle, go join the convoy.
I wish.
Get top insurance on it.
And set it on fire.
No, something's telling me that you're going to see there's going to be resistance there.
Yeah. Yep.
Define resistance there. Define what you mean by resistance.
I think he's muted his microphone on Skype, so he can't. He might be talking, but we can't hear him. Just you and I are talking.
Yeah, and I'm not watching either.
Oh, you guys can't hear me?
Well, up in the corner, I see Duke has got his microphone muted for Skype. So
I do. Oh. There, can you hear me now?
Now we can, yes.
Ah, okay. I don't know how that happened. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
Are you still live?
I'm not sure how that got muted.
Are you still live, Duke?
Pardon me?
You still live?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're still live on Facebook and YouTube.
I don't know if Carl's still watching, but thanks, Carl, for everything you're doing there. Canada thanks you. We're going to see what we can get done. I'm probably going to do a video tomorrow and encourage anyone that can get. They're supposed to land in Ottawa on Tuesday, right?
Yes, I believe they're scheduled to arrive Tuesday noonish.
And are they going right downtown center?
From what I understand, they're going right to Parliament Hill with trucks, yeah, which is going to pretty much bring the whole city to a standstill.
Nice.
Oh, that'll bring the whole city and then some to a standstill.
Oh, yeah, because Highway 417, the Trans-Canada, goes right through the downtown core of Ottawa, and for them to get off, they're going to have to get off at McCabe exit, and it's going to take them right down, right through the downtown core, all full of construction, and right onto Parliament Hill. They're going to bring that city to a standstill. It's going to be backed up to Kingston.
They're going to pack Rideau Street. They're going to pack all of downtown. With that many trucks, we're talking thousands of trucks, I figure, is going to be there by the time it gets there.
Oh, if it keeps growing the way he's talking that it has, Yeah, there'll be 500 to 1,000 trucks in Ottawa. Like
possibly more, because don't forget, a lot of places in Quebec and in driving distance of Ottawa, like just a couple of hours, you don't know what could come from that. And they could organize between now and I'm doing another video tomorrow and hopefully get that out to the people in Quebec and even the Maritimes. There are people in the Maritimes that can get there on time.
Yeah, as it gets closer, you're going to see more locals getting involved, right? And the numbers are really going to swell when it gets to the point that people can do this in a get up in the morning and go there for the day kind of thing, right? Take your dump truck and head down the 401 from Toronto and away you go.
Right. Now, I don't know if you talked about it earlier with him or not, but he's talking about no politicians. Is there not a single politician that's going to be? They didn't invite anyone to hear them out at all.
Yeah, none at all. This isn't about. They know they're not going to have an effect on the politicians. They know the politicians got shot at and only added one security guard. They didn't do anything, even when someone took out a gun, went in a Parliament building and shot at them. Okay? They know the government isn't going to respond. That's why they're not wasting their time letting them come out and just give them lip service. Because that's all it'll be. If they did bring out a speaker, it would just be meaningless lip service. And they're, like Carl was saying, they've worked too hard to waste their time listening to that. That's not what they're going to Ottawa for. This is to wake up Canadians.
No, I'm not saying invite a politician to speak. I'm saying just put it out there for them to be there to listen.
There might be politicians there, but they haven't bothered to invite any. They haven't said, will you come speak?
Oh, okay. No. Don't invite them as speakers. They'll just be pandering anyway.
Yeah, now Dave Delisle in the Facebook chat room says that Doug Ford will be there, and Doug Ford has said that he's going to be in Ottawa to welcome the truckers.
That's interesting.
It is. But he's a different type of politician too, you know?
Right.
Yeah, he is. I'll give him credit for that. Okay? He is a people's politician. He's Ontario's version of Max Bernier.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Able to contact Clinton. Well, it's not Clinton DeVoe anymore. They changed the general director of his party changed, but I'm going to try to get a hold of someone and see if they want to go down there and have some sort of presence there. Because the cause is good, and Bernier is the guy saying that he'll use the Constitution to run the pipelines. So, I mean, some of his sound bites, not sound bites, but some of his Twitter bites there lately. I sit there and I'm like, I can't believe a politician just put that on Twitter. I can believe it if it was Trump, but it's hard to believe a Canadian politician is putting some of the stuff Maxime Bernier is putting out there on Twitter.
Yeah, he has been throwing out a lot of really cutting-edge tweets.
Like there's one he
Doug,
did on
I know
appropriation.
You're new to the Twitter world as far as Nephilim Films goes. You guys just got Nephilim into Twitter, didn't you?
No, we got Myth is Canada.
Myth is Canada. To me, it's one and the same thing. Nephilim Films, Myth is Canada, Doug Force, it's all synonymous, the same thing. They all mean the same thing to me. Sorry.
That's okay.
It'd be interesting to be in Ottawa. Are you thinking of going up, Duke?
I want to, but there's just no way. It means I wind up losing like 2 shifts at 2 jobs, and I just can't afford that right now. I can't afford 2 days off from 2 different jobs.
I'd be missing work as well and paying out of pocket, but it would be worth it, I think.
Well, as much as I'd like to be there, I'm going to focus my travel resources this year on the July rally with C3.
Yeah, well, that one there, that would still be good though. But like right now, I've saved up some. If I can find the right price, if I can find a flight for under $400, I might be able to pull this off. We'll see. If not, I'd like to touch base with someone and help with reporting on it.
Okay. All right. We'll talk tomorrow about that.
Carl,
you and I'll talk tomorrow about that because I might be able to connect you with somebody in Ottawa. Okay.
Yeah. Because in the meantime, I'm gonna try to do a couple of videos on this and push it. And I get that it's only pipelines, but it's more than that in my opinion.
Oh, well, it's a lot more than just pipelines. It's the fact that they're taxed on everything worse than we are here. And it's everything. I think we just lost the live stream. There it goes. It picked back up again. Facebook cut us out for a few minutes or a few seconds.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, they don't like this.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up. Doug, so much I want to say thank you for unexpectedly joining us. I know we chatted real quickly earlier this afternoon, and I said, hey, you may want to come watch this because Billy's a guy who you need to hear, and he needs to hear you. So thank you for the impromptu visit.
I appreciate Billy's time and listening to me, and I thank him for his time.
Well, Doug, thanks a lot, and I appreciate it very much. You may or may not know that I have my own YouTube channel, and I'd love to maybe someday have a Skype conversation, you and I, and record it, and then run it on my channel.
Absolutely.
I recorded this, like I screenshot whenever I do shows with Duke, I screenshot everything. So if you have a problem with me using sound clips from this, like for a soft introduction to the whole idea of the Mythos Canada and the idea of de jure government versus de facto government and all that stuff, because I'm still trying to process it, right? So I don't like doing shows on my own when I don't have enough grasp of the content that I'm discussing, because then I sound stupid and I look stupid, and I don't want that to happen, right? So
well, and then I suggest that you get onto the Mythos Canada website,
do some research.
Well, it's all there, and then the books, Ho Canada and Duke will send you that stuff. And have a read. I'll guarantee you start reading Ho Canada, you won't put it down. So do it in the afternoon, so you're not going to be up till 3 a.m.
It's not a big book. It's not a big book. You can get through it in like one afternoon and a 6-pack of beer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 130 pages.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be quick to read.
Yeah,
the last show I did, I typed out 25 pages.
Yeah, the problem with Ho Canada is you read like 5 pages, you put it down, and you got to let it sink in. You go back to it, and then you read another 10 pages, and you got to get away from it for about an hour to let that sink in. So it's not a book that you could read cover to cover.
It's like watching that video that you did, that 3-hour video I was saying, where at times I had to stop and say, "Oh fuck." It's whoa, I'm going to go smoke a joint right now and try to digest that fucking big slab of information burger that was just shoved down my throat.
I'm happy to be your chef.
No, but it's I don't know. That's just the way I see it right now. I'm always wanting to learn, but at the same time, I hate feeling stupid. So sometimes I get intimidated when I talk to people that are more knowledgeable than I am on certain topics. Part of the growth process.
I promise you, I won't ever do that to you. No, I try to be as enlightening to everybody as I possibly can. I personally don't like being spoken down to, so I don't like speaking down to people. You're not going to get anywhere doing that.
Right, exactly. Sometimes in my videos I'll get an aggressive tone, but I'll only speak down to people that deserve it. I mean, if you're blatantly ignorant over and over and over and over and over again, well, eventually, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was an absolute pleasure discussing with you, and I'm glad Duke introduced us.
Thank you, and likewise, right back at you.
Well, thanks, Duke.
Thanks you both, guys. The two of you tonight have proved what my shows are all about. They're about bringing us Canadians together.
Absolutely. I agree.
And just talking about things. I've got audiences on 2 different platforms. This video gets seen by all kinds of people, and we just proved that we can have different opinions and lack of knowledge and share information and make this thing we call Canada work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, I thank you so much for coming on the show. Doug, Billy, as always, brother, keep it Canadian. Doug, sir, your time here for Patriots is immeasurable. thank you so much for the time you've put in on our behalf. And again,
You're
for the
welcome.
time
Thank
tonight.
you for having me, guys. Thanks.
Take care,
Thank you.
fellas. Take care, fellas. Good night.
See you, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on. Bye-bye. And if I can get this cursor to work, there we go. Now where'd it go? Right up there. Okay, that's got me back here. Well, there you go, folks. That rounds out our show for Sunday, February 17th, CPR, Canadian Patriot Report. I want to close out this show by clarifying a couple of things that have transpired recently that involved me willingly or otherwise. First off, I want to discuss this whole Rudy Bruce thing. And this is the last time I am ever going to discuss the twerp, because he's already garnered enough free publicity off of my ass without my permission, without my consent, and without my real endorsement of what he's doing. Rudy Bruce is the representative of a much needed element in any birthing of an organization. Whether you're starting a national patriot movement or starting a new chapter for your local kinsman organization. Cancerous, negative, misguided fools like Rudy are present in the formation of all of these different things. And they're a needed part, because they are, as I keep saying, a shit magnet. They and their stupid ideas being vocalized and propagated out to the stupid people who believe their stupid ideas are a filtration system. And as long as you leave them alone, like little filters, they will filter the shit out of our way. So I'm just going to leave Rudy out there to keep doing what he's doing. More power to you, brother. Keep sucking the stupid out of this movement. 'Cause you are the Tammy Faye Baker of the Christian movement. You are the Jimmy Jones of the Christian movement. You are the David Koresh of the Christian movement. And did you see the Pope get all uptight when Jimmy Jones led a bunch of people down to Guyana and fed them cyanide-laced Kool-Aid? No, he didn't care, because he knew the ones that were following Jimmy Jones to Guyana weren't really followers of Jesus to begin with. They were followers of a fake prophet. Rudy Prince is the same way. If people want to follow him, great. Great. It tells me all I need to know about you, the people that are following him. And it's information I will use. It's called You're Too Stupid for Me to Waste My Time With. So now I'm done talking about Rudy, and I think he's great. I think Rudy's great. Keep being a shit magnet. We need more Rudys cleaning the shit out of the system. Have a nice day. Good luck. Bye, Rudy. See ya. End of topic. The other thing I want to talk about happened Friday in my chat room. Barry Prince expressed his ongoing, continued concern that people like me, who continually and regularly point out the truth to Canadians that A, we need to stand up against what's happening, B, standing up means, yeah, your ass is on the line, C, stand up or lay down, some of us, a lot of us, are going to die before this is all said and done. And Barry was in my chat room claiming that I'm going to get people killed. Well, maybe, but I'll get them killed standing up, fighting for what they fucking believe in, not laying down with their ass in the air waiting to take it up the hoop. I don't lie to people. Not one bit. Somebody says to me, Duke, people are going to get killed. Yeah, you're right. They are. Lots of us are, including probably me. And that's not going to change. You can pretend it's not going to happen. You can bury your head in the sand and leave your ass stuck up in the air and tell yourself, nope, I don't want to hear that it's going to get ugly. But your dumb ass is still going to get shot, whether you bury your head in the sand or not. So the only choice Canadians have is to die lying down as a pacifist or die standing up as a fighter for what you believe in. That's it. And maybe, if enough of us stand up, not all of us will have to die. That's called being a patriot. If you think for 1 minute that the Canadians who stormed the beaches of Normandy, or for that matter the beaches of Dieppe, weren't scared fucking shitless, then you're an idiot. But that right there was all they needed to know. I'm going that way, and nothing's going to stop me until I'm dead. And I can talk to you about this with an honest sincerity in my voice, because I know I'm not the first patriot to have to consider the fact that what I'm doing could cost me my life. I also know I won't be the last patriot to have to consider that what I'm doing could cost me my life. And I also know that when I get up to the pearly gates and I go see St. Peter, he's going to stand there in a black pair of boots, an old pair of ratty oil grease-covered blue jeans, and a black leather jacket, and a big long gray beard. He's going to look down at me and he's going to say, "Proby, you ain't coming in here, you piece of shit. You got work to do. Get your ass back down there. You ain't done yet." You know why I know that? Because I know when I die, when I'm dead and gone, there'll be another child born in this world to carry on. Because I'm not the first patriot. And I sure as fuck won't be the last. Good night, folks.
Individuals can inspire, but it is the millions, it is the people that make change. People, we have to make change now.
The day I shipped out, it numbered a dozen. Upon my return, we're 100 or so, from the coast and from the prairies. I bet they keep coming. Add one more name from Ontario and carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above.
I mean it. If this video doesn't tighten the muscles in your throat, if it doesn't make your lower lip quiver just a little bit, you're a cold-hearted motherfucker that I don't want to know.
I serve with distinction, no visions of glory. I serve without question, a personal gain. Seek no justification. It's not part of my story, and it offers no comfort to the ones who remain. Just carry me home
I love this country and the people that are in it.
I took up my vocation. I was called by my nation without hesitation. My answer I gave. Now I'm not wondering the things that I might have been. No consolation in the forgotten rain. So carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love. Warriors and
I know I'm wasting all my time standing in that coffee line. Then we be sitting around the table drinking java by the cup. You know what? My lady wants me home, but when I sit down I can't get up. You know what? Drink my coffee from my favorite cup. Good God. Sitting down at Tim Hortons, I'll be sucking it up. Mercy, I got to make that scene. But after one cup, I gotta pee. You see, my hair's all gone, and my beard is turning gray. Mercy, all the women that I hit on turns their head the other way. You know, I might get me a real nice blonde. If I look a little more like James Bond. Hey! Hit my band. Mercy. Make that a large. Give me a donut, too. Long.
I love my audience almost as much as I love this country. Thanks for being with us, folks. We'll see you next weekend. Till then, keep Canada Canadian.
Sitting down at Tim Hortons, Lord have mercy, I'll be sucking it up. You know, I got to make this scene.